Development, Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace,
Stillman Company, Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushers.
Awesome Game 7. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. Nick is in for Ian. Hello, Nick.
Hello, how are we doing?
Outstanding. Okay. So I had a whole plan to spend all day this morning trying to figure out what we were going to talk about today with this Raider game upcoming. And we broke down all these clips and had all this stuff. And one segment from the midday show, which I've now heard about 15 times from different people across the city. And I've seen it on Twitter, and I've seen it on my own Twitter, and I've seen it on the shows and everything else.
I've seen it in the text line.
It's just driving me insane. And we're starting on this. Titans fans, and I normally don't do this for two reasons. One, I don't really see myself as anything like more knowledgeable than an average fan. Like I didn't play football. I didn't coach football. Other than the fact that I can spend all morning watching game tape when you have to do an actual job, there's really no difference. So I try not to like talk down to the fans. Number two, I realize the role of radio. 95% of Americans listen to radio in their cars on a weekly basis. AM, FM, terrestrial radio. And what people have a hard time understanding is that it's not Rush Limbaugh from the mountaintop talking to every conservative. It's Rush Limbaugh in the car with the one guy on the way home. And that's something that I've tried to preach. I've really tried to explain to you that it's not like, we're not preaching to the masses. It's just Jared and Caroline are in your car with you on your way home. So try not to talk down. Try to make it conversational, everything else.
Just a couple of pals hanging out.
I have to talk down here for a second. I have to preach here for a second. Titan fans need to chill out with John Robinson and Mike Vrabel. This is, and I say this with complete sincerity, in the history of Nashville sports, I do not think there has been a commentator who is more consistently skeptical of the local teams than me on a consistent basis. And I'm talking about the history of Nashville sports, because really sports talk became a thing in the late 90s, early 2000s. So that's where, this all really came about. And I know what happened in sports talk in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And I know what happened in the mid 2010s. And I know what happened when I got here. And I know what happens now. And you guys have got to chill on the coach and the general manager. I get the frustrations. Like, we first guessed about 95% of the things that you all are going off about today. We criticized Isaiah Wilson. We asked John Robinson before the 2021 draft, why was it bad in the 2020 draft? We weren't happy about that. We criticized Vrabel when he didn't have a defensive coordinator in 2020 and they couldn't get off the field on third down. We criticized the Clowney signing. We criticized the Julio trade. We begged them before the start of free agency, go get a right tackle. Whatever you do, go get a right tackle. We told you, Austin Hooper, 1 year, $7 million. Like, he's not Gronk, people. The only thing, as far as first guessing is concerned, where we went along with the Titans, where I'm kind of like, I don't know about that, Bob, was the A.J. Brown trade. And we'll see how that plays out, because apparently Pro Football Focus says Treylon Burks is the best rookie in wide receiver in the NFL.
Thank you, Pro Football Focus.
We'll take that with a truckload of salt. But again, Guys, it's 2 games. It's 2 games. John Robinson has been the general manager here for 7 seasons. And in the 6 seasons that are completed, the Titans have made the playoffs 4 times. They have had a winning season every year. They have had 6 winning seasons. This is an organization that did not make the playoffs from 2004 until 2017. No, excuse me, they made it in 2008 and 7. But they did not win a playoff game between 2004 and 2017. And then he fired the coach, Robinson did, which I wasn't on board with because I was so tired of the losing and Malarkey had done some winning. And then they went out and hired a guy that was just the coach of the year. They hired a guy that got them to the AFC Championship game when they started 2-4. Do you know how hard it is to get to a conference championship game with Ryan Tannehill as your starting quarterback? I mean, guys, not every move they're going to make is perfect. Not every move that any general manager is going to make is perfect. Floyd drafted Henry Ford in the first round. Henry Ford was a defensive end from Arkansas who ate too much food that they had to move him to defensive tackle. Don't let him draft again. Next year he drafted Steve McNair. The next year he drafted Eddie George. Floyd made a trade in the 96 draft to move down in the first round. And he got Eddie George and John Runyon, an all-pro right tackle, out of it. And then in 97 he drafted Kenny Holmes. Kenny Holmes was okay. That's how it works. The same guy who one year drafts Albert Haynesworth, maybe the best defensive player for a 3-year period in the NFL, Andre Woolfolk the next year, a corner who could never play. It happens. Robinson's drafting has not been good. We have been very critical about that on this program consistently. We screamed about it literally at the draft the night that they took Dylan Radins, and we're like, who is that? Who's that? Who the hell's that? We lost our minds about it. Monty Rice, the same thing, went crazy about. Chris Sanders on the draft show said it was a horrible pick when they took Caleb Farley. TD on the draft show this year could not believe it when they traded A.J. Brown. We are very critical around here. And yet at the same time, I've got to tell everybody, because I hear it on all these shows. I hear it. I hear this. Robinson missed all these draft choices, and that's why this team. And Robinson traded a 4th-round draft pick for a quarterback who went on to the Pro Bowl. Russell Wilson right now is probably not headed to the Pro Bowl, and they traded 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a tight end that they had used a first-round pick on 3 years ago. And he might not ever go to the Pro Bowl for the Broncos. And Ryan Tannehill went to the Pro Bowl in 19, and he probably should have and definitely would have if there was a Pro Bowl in 2020. That's good GMing. In Robinson's first draft, bang, first round Jack Conklin, All-Pro. Bang, Derrick Henry, second round, All-Pro. Bang, Kevin Byard, third round, All-Pro. You think most general managers do that? No. The Indianapolis Colts every single year have to go get another quarterback because every quarterback that they think is going to be the future for them goes out and stinks. The Titans don't have to do that. The Titans are a competently run organization. Are they run as well as the Bills? No. How often have I said on this program that I think Brandon Beane of the Bills is the best general manager in the NFL?
So many times.
A lot. He's a great general manager. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Buffalo kills everybody. Buffalo killed the Rams. Buffalo hung 30 whatever on the Chiefs. They killed the Patriots in the playoffs. Buffalo is the perfect. I mean, people should be talking about this on national TV, and I'm surprised they're not. Buffalo's got 17-0 potential. I mean, they've got the pass rushers, they've got the secondary, they've got the receivers, they got the quarterback, and they might have the offensive line. Now, it's hard to go 17-0, but Buffalo might have it. That's who you lost to. Without your 2 sackers, Dupree and Landry, and with an offensive line that every year gets better throughout the course of this season. Am I concerned about the Titans right now? Yeah, I am. And I think if they lose Sunday, I think it's going to be a nightmare. even if the Titans go 5-12 this season, they shouldn't fire their coach and they shouldn't fire their general manager. Those guys have done too good of a job. And so I'm sitting there today and I'm listening to all the texts on Robbie and Rex Road, and I'm, listening to the callers, and I'm listening to the midday show, and I'm listening to Derek talk about Vrabel and Robinson, and I'm like, guys, calm down. It's okay. They started off 0-2 because they missed a field goal in one game. And again, there were a lot of things that happened in the Giants game, but the reality is they missed a 47-yard field goal, which Robinson is to blame for. But they missed a 47-yard field goal. It happens. Then they played a team that is much older. It's okay. Not everybody needs to be fired. And remember, that is coming from the most critical person of the team in town, me. That felt good to get off my chest.
I'm glad you feel better.
Your reaction?
Well, I think part of it is we got to see training camp. We got to see practice. We got to see a lot of the things that fans didn't see. So whenever we or anyone else in this town was critical of a player or was critical of the drafting, all we got was, well, it's practice. It's early. They're a rookie. They're trying to figure things out, which isn't necessarily very fair.
Caleb Farley hasn't played a lot of football. You got to remember that, guys. Okay.
But they don't care. The Buffalo Bills don't care if Caleb Farley hasn't played a lot of football because he'll get beat regardless.
Yes.
So a lot of the times when we were told, calm down, it's practice, there's time, we were saying, okay, how much time is there really? So now I think the fans get the opportunity to see what we saw in camp, and now it actually means something. So they're seeing what we saw about how this roster just has holes that weren't addressed in the offseason. And now it's coming back to bite them. Now it's coming to fruition on the field. Now they're losing to the Buffalo Bills because of it. So I think fans are seeing what we saw in training camp. And so the things that we've been saying, they're feeling now.
I mean, how many segments did we do from March until now where it was, are we worried about this? Are we worried about that? Are we worried about the right tackle position? Were we worried on this program about right tackle all spring and summer?
Losing sleep worried about it.
Were we worried about Aaron Brewer being undersized?
Yes.
Were we worried about Caleb Farley getting beat deep in practice?
Yes.
And
what did he do on Sunday? Get beat.
He got beat deep. I mean, we were worried. All the things. Have we been worried about the drafting?
Yes.
We've
been worried about the drafting since I've gotten here. Yes.
Were we worried about the play caller?
We were against the Giants.
I mean, I was pretty worried. Like I kept saying, I remember, like, you fans have taken a whole offseason off of talking about Todd Downing, but the second he messes something up, it's going to be Todd.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it's been. And again, is this team perfect? No. 2 weeks ago, I sat here. I remember, I want to say Landry got hurt on a Thursday because TD was with us. He got hurt on a Wednesday. We all found out about it on Thursday because TD was with us. And so the first segment, we were trying to figure out why the Titans magically redid Derrick Henry's contract. Then we found out it was because Harold Landry got hurt. So then we talked about what that meant for the Titans, and we had TD on for an hour who broke down the Landry injury. And then what did I say right after that? I said they're screwed. And everyone was like, no, Weaver will come in there, and Weaver will be fine. And I'm like, no, this team is not. You don't replace A.J. Brown. Which Traylon Burks, even though he's doing okay, he's not A.J. Brown. They did not replace A.J. Brown, and you don't just replace your leading 12-sacker.
But I still don't think that Harold Landry being in there against the Buffalo Bills would have been the difference between a 41-7 loss and beating the Bills.
I think that Harold Landry and Bud Dupree together do make this team a lot better.
They make this team a lot better. But they do make a difference.
Buffalo would have won that game either way.
Yes.
Now, it would have been closer. But Buffalo would have won that game. I mean, no pass rush compared to a pass rush.
It makes a difference. I understand.
Mac Jones 123.2 quarterback rating, Patrick Mahomes 62.3. I mean, there is a difference.
I do think that not having Harold Landry or Bud Dupree being injured, having both of them out could be the difference between 11-6 and 9-8. Which is a difference.
I think it could be the difference between 11-6 and 6-11.
Really?
You're talking about two sackers.
I know.
Like, you're talking about 2 sackers. You're not talking about 1 sacker. So, I mean, you're talking about the 2021 offense with the 2020 defense, and that's a bad football team.
But we know for certain it's without Harold Landry.
But again, it's 2 games. The Bills are really good on the road. They were never going to win that game. The Titans would have been underdogs at home at Nissan Stadium if they had hosted Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. And I would have picked the Bills because I did pick the Bills before the start of the playoffs. So, I mean, guys, this Robinson and Vrabel thing, like these guys forgot how to run an organization. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And again, I think I've unfairly earned a reputation for wanting to fire coaches, but I know that's what a lot of people think of me. And even I am telling you all, guys, calm down. It's okay. I'm not going to tell you the Titans are going to be fine because I don't know if the Titans are going to be fine. But I know 0-2 is not the end of the world. And how they got to this 0-2 is not the end of the world. And do they need to clean things up? Yeah. But we need to calm down and stop acting like it's the Washington Commanders around here and they haven't been good for 20 years. 615-737-1025. We're starting on that. The Vrabel and Robinson tension. And the question I think should be asked is this. Why? Like, why so quickly? Why so quickly? You all love Vrabel. Robinson, I mean, there's some days here and there, but again, why so quickly? 615-737-1025 is our phone number, and I don't like talking like that to the fans, like, hey, fans, you need to think this. I just have my opinion, and then you can have whatever opinion you want of it, but this I felt compelled to do. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. Start NFL Week 3 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay does not hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets at a chance at a bigger payday. For instance, you can go with Najee Harris over rushing yards, Nick Chubb to score a touchdown, whatever. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code JGM. If you don't already have an account, then you can get FanDuel and get set, rocking and rolling with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs with a $1 minimum bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet is $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
As a roofer, every second counts. Late deliveries and incomplete orders cost me time and money. That's why I partner with Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. With Beacon, I know my supplies will be delivered on time and complete. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Veragio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
One of the best things to happen here over the last year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is helping people in our area get real, lasting relief from their joint pain with the latest in regenerative medicine. No drugs, no downtime, no steroids, no surgery. In fact, QC Kinetics has tripled in size. Now with clinics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro, one near you. So if you have pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back, whatever joint it is, don't think steroids and surgery are your only options. Regenerative medicine treatments at QC Kinetics use natural biologics, healing agents from your own body. It restores and repairs the damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for years, and now it's available to you and me. So many people here have done this and are raving about how they got their life back without that nagging daily pain. Appointments are available as soon as next week, and the consultation is free. So call QC Kinetics and learn how modern precision medicine can help you deal with the pain caused by arthritis or injury without drugs or surgery. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. 615-249-4024 for the consultation. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Probably the last time there was this much external doubt about where the team stood was when you took over as the starter. What makes you believe that this group can have a rebound and the success that you had a few years ago in the same spot?
Yeah, there's a lot of belief within our locker room, and I think that's where it all starts is we know what we're capable of. We haven't put that on the field so far, but we have the guys we need and the belief that we need to go out and do it. Just a matter of doing it. You know, you can't talk about it, you can't think about it anymore. It's a matter of going out and making it come to life on Sunday.
There you go. That was Ryan Tannehill talking about the belief. Titans fans do not share that belief. Whatever belief that is in that locker room, they do not share. But I will say this. We talked at length about the 2003 Patriots, the Tom Jackson moment on Sunday Countdown, when old TJ said, "Let me be very clear. They hate their coach." And I was saying earlier in the week that if I had to be the guy, because apparently the Patriots rallied around it so much so that when they won the Super Bowl and Chris Berman had Belichick on set after the Super Bowl, Tom Jackson went to shake Belichick's hand, and Belichick looked at him and said, "F you." And apparently that's like a legendary exchange.
Really should probably say thank you, but I understand the sentiment.
I agree. But I vowed that if it would help the Titans rally, that I would be the they hate their coach guy. They don't need me. The venom from the fans is next level. It's been 2 games.
And it was worse after the Bills game than it was after the Giants game. I understood fans just being frustrated after the Giants game. That was a game that should have never been as close as
I was way more mad at the coaching after the Giants game.
Yeah, and that was a game that the Titans absolutely positively should have won. After the Bills game, I assumed people would be like, okay, it's the Bills. They're really good, which I think people would have done if it wasn't such a drastic blowout and if it didn't get so ugly. But it feels a little reactive.
A little?
That it feels reactive.
Let's go to your phones, because I know you got them. 615-737-1025, our phone line, text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
One texter texts in and says, so it's okay for you to be worried before the season opener, but when some fans get worried and panic, then you think it's your job to tell them to calm down. I'm confused.
I was first guessing the problems the Titans have. And look, I don't think they're perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Like, I can't figure this outside backer situation out, right? David Anneni gets like 9 sacks in the preseason. They put him on the practice squad. Landry tears his ACL, and they don't promote Anneni to the active roster. They sign Derek Tezuka or whatever from the Steelers, Tezuka. They add him from the Steelers. They deactivate him, and then he gets signed by somebody else. Then they signed Takaris McKinley to the practice squad last week. The Rams signed him to the active roster, so the Titans don't add him even though they got outside backer problems. And they only carry 3 into the game. Bud Dupree gets hurt. Now they got 2 outside backers for the rest of the game. That is madness to me. Like, that is ridiculous. I'm not saying they're perfect. But what I'm sitting here saying is when I get worried about the season, you ever hear me talk about how, oh, man, Vrabel might be on the hot seat this year. Oh, they better do something about John Robinson's drafting. And no, I keep saying John needs to do something about John's drafting. Not they need to do something. And that leads me to kind of my bigger question, which is, what do you all want? I'm talking to the fans. What do you all want when it comes to Robinson? What do you want this to be like?
Better drafting, better talent acquisition. I think that's what the fans want.
And you didn't want that beforehand when they got nothing from the 2020 draft class?
I think fans were still skeptical.
I mean, I
wasn't here in 2020.
Crazy when they drafted Caleb Farley. And I said, like, look, that's like investing in cryptocurrency. Good luck. Like, it might go up. I don't know. You know, I got friends that believe in that stuff, and maybe one day that they'll have their own private islands. But I'm not investing in cryptocurrency because I don't trust it. So I'm not trusting these corners that don't play college football because they have sciatica problems and disc surgery.
Sciatica.
Yeah. I'm not doing that. And I thought that was dumb, and we criticized it. And I thought that the Ravens pick was dumb, and I thought the Monty Rice pick was dumb. It's not like we didn't criticize these things, but there's a difference between criticizing a decision and demanding that somebody should be fired. It's like when I ask, what do you want? What do you want them to do about it? Amy Adams Strunk says, Johnny fan, I know you're upset about the fact that we're getting nothing out of our 2020 draft class, our 2021 draft class, our 2018 draft class, now that Landry's hurt, and our 17 draft class when we picked Corey Davis before about 13 Pro Bowlers went off the board. What should I do about it? You know, fire him? Because that's all she can do. She's not going to suspend him. She's not going to censure him. This is not the political party where members of the Tennessee football party have come out and censured General Manager John Robinson for not drafting well 3 years ago.
Well, I don't think it's a fan's job to come up with the solution of what the general manager should do. But I think fans have every right to be frustrated with John Robinson about how zero of the talent that he has drafted.
And what's
I
the
say
solution?
that hyperbolically.
But what's the solution? They don't have they have the right to think whatever they want to the fans. They can do whatever they want. They're the paying customer. But at the same time, what do you want them to do? Because
better.
When you voice your frustrations, it's like, okay, I hear your frustration. What is your suggestion?
Suggestion? Draft better.
That's not a suggestion.
It's a fan suggestion.
What
That's allowed to be a fan suggestion. One texter checks in and says, after the Giants game, you said the Titans should be embarrassed. You were mad at Vrabel for not firing Ackerman and for John Robinson for not finding a better kicker and keeping Randy Bullock, but now you're suddenly kumbaya.
No! I mean, please fire Craig Ackerman.
The Titans should have been embarrassed after that Giants loss.
But if I owned the team and I went to Mike Vrabel and I said, I want you to fire Craig Ackerman, and Mike Vrabel said, no. If you fire Craig, you fire me, which a lot of head coaches have said over time, and sometimes it's not the right thing to say, but sometimes it's kind of a, hey, you pay me to be the coach, and this is my team, and if you want to take that, you're entitled to that because you're the owner, but you got to do it with another coach. If I went to Mike Vrabel and I said, Mike, I own the team. Mike, I want you to fire Craig Ackerman. And Mike says no. It's either him or me. What would you do?
I don't think you can make it him or me.
You keep Vrabel. You keep them both. You have to. You're going to fire the coach of the year over the special teams coach?
You can't make it him or me.
I'm talking about like if Vrabel says, if you fire him, you fire me. So I won't fire him. You can fire me and then fire him, but I'm not firing him. He's my coach. He's my special teams coach. I own the team. I'm not going to fire Mike Vrabel over that. And that's the whole point I'm trying to make, which is Do I think that Vrabel and Robinson are doing a good enough job right now? Yeah, I do think they're doing a good enough job because it's binary. It's either good enough or not good enough, and not good enough equals fired because there's no step in between. There's no, hey, you're not doing a good enough job, so you can't do that. They can't micromanage. They can't hire a coach to coach the coach. They can't do that. They can't hire a GM to assist the GM. He's the GM. He's the coach. And the second you take those responsibilities away from them, they're fired. And they know that. And so that's the whole point I bring up is it's like, you're like, Jared, you said you didn't like the Julio Jones trade. Right. I didn't like it. I thought it was dumb when it happened. I thought he was old. I heard he had a bad attitude. And to take both the pick and the money, I understand the pick if they take the money, or I understand the money if you give them a bad pick. What I don't understand is the pick and the money. I mean, that was foolish. It was outrageous. And it hurts them today that they made that decision on Julio Jones in about 8 different ways. It hurts them today. But I'm not firing the general manager over it. It's a binary decision. Be upset, but don't start screaming about it and talking about how John Robinson's the problem when this team has been to the playoffs 4 out of the last 6 years, and this is an organization that traditionally does not make the playoffs. You guys want to go look at the Oilers' history. Go see what happens when they fire Bum Phillips, because this is how I feel about this right now. Because I remember what it was like being a junior in high school in the kitchen of my old parents' house, talking to my dad when I didn't know Floyd Reese from a jar of Vicks. And I told my dad, I was like, I don't like this decision to fire Floyd Reese because, you know, he and Jeff Fisher, every fan in America knew that there was tension between the two. Mm-hmm. And sometimes tension's good. And I was like, now they're just going to hire some yes man for Jeff Fisher. And next thing you know, they're drafting Chris Henry in the 2nd round. And next thing you know, Vince Young's throwing his pads in the stands. And so, I mean, that's my whole point is, Jared, you got mad about Vrabel for this. Yes. And I still said all summer that I thought he was the best coach in the NFL. And every time I do this, when I go on Sirius XM radio and I'm talking about I think Vrabel's the best coach in the league, I couch it all the time with I rip his ass all the time. And I'm not going to stop because even the best coaches, Bill Belichick drafts Bethel Johnson in the 2nd round. It happens.
Yeah, the Patriots don't have great personnel at the moment.
But there is a difference between, man, this thing is an unmitigated mess and somebody else needs to come in here. And, man, that's starting to hurt right now. But they're not as good as the Buffalo Bills. And I think it's crazy right now for everybody to be screaming the way they are. Right into you, your thoughts. 615-737-1025. We'll hit on those. 615-737-1025. Caroline, tell us about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
It is time for the Caesars Sportsbook report. Now, first things first bet with Caesars Sportsbook. It is on Caesars, up to $1,250. Just download the app and use the promo code RADIOFULL. One word, RADIOFULL, and then place your first bet. And if you win, then congratulations. But if not, do not worry about it because you'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, we've got a Thursday night football game tonight, and Caesars has an odds boost going on. Nick Chubb and Najee Harris, each over 49.5 rush yards. I think that's a pretty safe bet at plus 120 odds on the Caesars Sportsbook. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Most of these within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Hey, I'm Ryan Johansson, and this is Smashville.
Back to Johansson, and Johansson tips it in with one hand on the stick.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Nashville, there is a significant blood supply shortage after multiple traumas over the past Labor Day weekend. Blood Assurance, the area's only nonprofit blood centers, needs your help with your blood donation. When you donate with Blood Assurance, you can save up to 3 lives right here in the Middle Tennessee area. Make your blood donation in honor of 9/11 Day. Blood Assurance is giving out special commemorative 9/11 shirts for all donors. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location today.
This segment of ESPN 1025 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Did he get it? He did. Touchdown, Vandy.
This is your home for Vanderbilt football.
This Saturday, Vanderbilt football in Tuscaloosa. It's the Commodores and Crimson Tide. Our coverage is set for 5 p.m.
Vanderbilt is on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey, this is John Hines, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
I'm going to just get rid of Tennessee very quickly. Tennessee, at the moment, is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Derrick Henry, a great runner, had 25 yards and 13 carries last night. That's less than 2 yards a carry. Ryan Tannehill had 2 interceptions and passed for a total of 117 yards. If those two don't give you anything, then you are nothing. Right now, Tennessee is Indianapolis. These are teams with false and inflated expectations.
Tony Kornheiser just bringing the boom.
Wowza.
On the Titans on PTI. Let's go to your phones as promised, as I got ranting and raving. Again, if you want John Robinson to do a better job, I'm with you. The drafting has been terrible. We talk about it. I mean, I saw Farley at training camp and thought this is going to be a disaster. I asked Vrabel about why does he keep getting beat deep, and then he gets beat deep in the games. I get it. I've been the one to ask Vrabel and Robinson the hard questions. Not the one, but I have been one to do so. And yet, that doesn't mean that I think these guys should be fired. And it's not like they lose a game to the Bills and it's like, John Robinson. I'm like, guys, he tried to get by without a right tackle this year because he got by without a right tackle last year. That's what it's about. And you all didn't complain then. Ricky is up next. Sorry about that. Go. What were you saying?
It's just that it doesn't excuse it. The fact that he got away with it last year doesn't excuse the fact that they didn't find a solution at right tackle this year.
But you all were fine about it when I was complaining about it then. So now it's like, oh, now we got crushed by the Bills, so now I'm disappointed. Ricky, sorry about that. Go ahead, Ricky.
Hey, Jared. Just want to make a couple quick points. One, I watch 8 football games at a time. 90% of the country don't even know their general manager's name. Robinson's doing a good job, okay? Maybe scouting could be improved, but the guy took us to the playoffs 4 times. Can't argue with that. Second point, Vrabel is definitely top 3 coaches in the whole league. Let the season develop. Tannehill had a rough night in Buffalo. Henry had a rough night in Buffalo. It happened. Last point, I know better, and you know I know this better than anybody in the country. Keep Malik on the bench with this offensive line because it will. The PTSD that it can cause a quarterback being behind a bad offensive line can ruin a career, and this kid deserves a fair shot not to put in and get sloppy minutes and end up rushing or getting hurt because that line is terrible.
So I appreciate your call, Ricky. I will say this. There's about 9 reasons why I don't want them to put Malik in there. him getting PTSD might be like 7 or 8. I mean, the number one reason is I don't think he's good enough. Like, I don't think he's better than the guy who is currently the quarterback of the Titans.
I mean, just watch that fourth quarter against the Bills.
The number two is I think he's still learning, and that's okay. He's supposed to learn. You know, number three, the line. Here's the thing about the line. We do this every year. We do it every year early in the season. The line stinks. And then Derrick Henry rushes for, 1,500 yards and a rushing title and dominates the Ravens and the Patriots in the playoffs. Or Derrick Henry rushes for 2,000 yards in the season. Or Derrick Henry gets hurt in the middle of the season and they still run the ball. Every year we talk about the offensive line stinks in September. And I only said all last week before the Buffalo game, they are not going to be able to pass protect. Whatever they do, stay out of passing situations because they won't be able to pass protect against this team. And it's like, well, Tre'Davious White is out, Jared. I know. They won't be able to pass protect. Now, the run blocking, I mean, even the little things that, like the things that get me mad about what the Titans do, it's not whiffing on Isaiah Wilson. I mean, I don't like it. But that's the 28th pick in the draft. Team's missing the 28th pick in the draft. It's re-signing Jeff Swaim for $3.5 million and thinking a problem is solved. When really, Swaim sucks. Like, that's my problem.
It's using hope as your strategy with Dylan Radins and not bringing in a legitimate right tackle. Irresponsible.
It's giving a 2-year contract to a kicker who can't kick it beyond 45 yards. Like, that's what bothers me. Ed's up next on John Robinson. Thank you for calling. What you got, Ed?
Hey, how y'all doing? Love listening to you on the way home.
Thank you.
Good. Hey, man, John Robinson got to go. You can say what you want to, but
What's your biggest beef with John Robinson right now?
I'm sorry?
What's your biggest problem with John Robinson right now?
He's not drafting worth a hoot. I mean, you're wasting Derrick Henry, one of the beasts in running backs in the NFL.
Who drafted that beast of a running back, Ed?
Sir?
Who drafted that running back, Ed?
Yeah, okay. He hit on one. I mean, even a blind man would get a hit once in a while.
He hit on 3 All-Pros in that draft.
Yeah, but, man, how many did Belichick hit on in that draft? You know what I'm saying? I just, it's time for him to go.
0.
That's all I can say. It's time for him to go. Put Malik in and see if he can do something because Tannehill ain't going to do squat.
Thank you, Ed. By the way,
I disagree with both of those things.
I just want Joe Rexroad to hear that caller when I say there are people who exist that think that Malik should be the quarterback. We've had 2 callers, unprovoked, without even talking about Malik today. We've had 2 callers that have both brought up Malik.
I would like to know if Ed watched the fourth quarter of the Bills-Titans game. Because if he did, he would not be saying, put Malik in there.
In all seriousness, when I went and watched the condensed game copy for the next day before the coaches tape came out, I didn't watch the fourth quarter.
I mean,
once they threw the interception, I didn't watch it anymore.
It was way past gone.
This game's over. There's no more scores. There's no more interesting. Like, it's over. Michael, up next on John Robinson. Thank you for calling. What's up, Michael?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. We as Titans fans need to pump the brakes on the fire J-Rob train real quick because ever since he became the general manager back in 2016, there has only been one other team in the entire league that's had a winning record every single season, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's pretty good company to be in, I'd say. I don't think, obviously, we have not achieved the level of success the Chiefs have, but, I mean, that's what happens when they draft one of the greatest quarterbacks possibly of all time, and we haven't since then. But I think that J-Rob, there's no way that he should be fired anytime soon. I don't think Vrabel should be fired anytime soon. I just think that you're right. We just got to pump the brakes a little bit. Obviously, they're not mutually exclusive that we can criticize him for his drafting ability and also say, well, he shouldn't be fired from it. There are other teams in the league, like the Jets and the Jaguars, that we could be in their positions in, but we're not, partially due to John Robinson's ability to run this team.
Partially?
Well, he's part of the reason why we haven't been that sucky like the Jets and the Jaguars. Obviously, there's personnel, there's coaching, but he has some sort of something to do with it. Because
he's the reason why, Michael, thank you. He's the reason why they were 3-13 the year before he got there. They're the worst team in the NFL. They had the number 1 pick, and in the first year with a coach that you all hated, they went 9-7 with a coach and a quarterback that you all don't like. Think about that. You all hate Marcus. You all hated Mularkey. I was the one defending both of them, but I understand where you feel about Marcus. I thought Mike Mularkey was a good coach. You all didn't. And so somebody's got to be responsible for why they went from 3-13 to 9-7. Oh, it's because he swapped picks in the 4th round with the Philadelphia Eagles to get DeMarco Murray. It's because he took Dorial Green Beckham, who didn't know if it was pumped or stuffed, and traded him for Dennis Kelly.
Dorial Green Beckham.
I mean, guys, come on. Seriously, oh, my goodness gracious. This isn't John Robinson in 2019 drafted Jeffrey Simmons in the 1st round, A.J. Brown in the 2nd round, Nate Davis in the 3rd round, Amani Hooker in the 4th round, and David Long Jr. in the 6th round.
Well, I think that we can acknowledge all of the good that John Robinson has done and also couch that with John Robinson needs to start drafting better.
Sure, but to say that he's not 100, to say that he's only partially responsible for why you're not Jacksonville anymore, that's not, he's one, unless it's Mularkey or Marcus, you can give it to Marcus, you can give it to Mike Mularkey, or you can give it to John Robinson.
Who's still here?
615-737-1025 is our phone number. The injury report is not out yet, I don't believe, but there is one thing that I am keeping my eyes on right now, and I am going to panic before TD gets here. If the injury report, if this is an issue, we will get to that. Stillman and Company, but then we're right back to your phones. 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus, finally done with record heat after back-to-back days of breaking high temperature records today. The first day of fall and feeling like it. Lower 80s and lower humidity into the afternoon. A few clouds on and off, but relatively a nice day.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Root for safeties this season with your friends at Superbook Sports. Hey, it's Chase McCabe. If you bet with Superbook this football season, they will give you a $50 bonus if a safety is scored on a Sunday. From a punter running out of the end zone to the plain old quarterback sack worth 2 points, root for chaos and win money with Superbook this fall. Download the Superbook Tennessee app right now and start rooting for two with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 800-889-9789.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come, join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors. Part of our tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Z Series mowers and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for $0 down, 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus save up to $1,100. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details. 3 locations to serve you: Columbia Kubota, Franklin Kubota, and Krebs Kubota. ColumbiaKubota.com or FranklinKubota.com or KrebsKubota.com.
Back in 1949, Dr. Houston began the tradition of treating athletes for common sports injuries. Today, the sports medicine physicians at Houston Clinic Orthopedics continue his legacy. Whether you play at school, in a league, on a professional team, or just enjoy being active, Houston Clinic Orthopedics physicians are there to help you stay in the game. Common sports injuries include tears, strains, sprains, and instabilities of the knee, shoulder, and ankle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is located where you work and live. Visit tn.houston.com to book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Life stresses can take a toll on your mind, body, and spirit, but there are simple, enjoyable remedies that may help aid these, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. So excited to be talking to you about the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, OrderGreen.com. Their wide selection of THC and CBD products will ensure you find a fit for your needs with discreet, same-day shipping nationwide. For me, for inflammation, for stress relief, it's a tremendous product. That's right, THC, CBD, right to your doorstep. Use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase at OrderGreen.com.
Chase McCabe.
The best way to figure that out is to watch Twitter.
Willie Donick.
Trying to move down the field for the winning field goal.
And Derek Mason.
I'm putting in my hours, and I'm out of here.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
I believe that if Bud Dupree is not on the field, this team has no chance. Your thoughts?
I agree with you 100%, and I think that they definitely need him because you got to remember that Landry's gone. Another guy that can get to the quarterback. I know Simmons can get to the quarterback. I know Andre can get to the quarterback. But you're talking about Dupree, who's a disruptor. And when you have a guy that's a disruptor, he might not have the stats or the sacks or the numbers that you want an edge rusher to have or a guy to have. But the thing about it is he disrupts the play. And when you have that guy taken out of your defense that disrupts the offense, man, it's going to be a little tough on defense to make some plays.
There you go. That was Chris Sanders yesterday. I think they're screwed if Bud Dupree doesn't play. According to the injury report, that is out via TD, who will be with us in 10 minutes. Bud Dupree did not practice today.
It's not encouraging.
No!
Not encouraging.
Derek Carr with Devontae Adams and no pass rush.
Cheese and peas.
Guys, we remember 2020. No pass rush. Clowney, Daquan Jones couldn't rush passer anymore. Casey was gone. Simmons was getting quadruple teamed. At least that team had Harold Landry. Oh, no. Maybe he'll practice tomorrow. If he doesn't play Sunday, they're screwed. Nate, go ahead on the offensive line. Thank you for calling. What's up, Nate?
This ain't Nate, man. This is Adam. Why are you calling me Nate?
Because it says Nate in the thing. Go ahead, Adam.
All right, buddy. Hey, so I heard something today, dude, that said that there's a chance that little Nicky could be slid down to the left tackle spot and that sloppy Dylan Raditz could be on the right tackle slot. Is that something that you're hearing? Have you heard that?
I think Vrabel was asked a question about if Taylor's out long-term, could they move Petit Ferrer to left tackle? And I think Vrabel gave like a non-answer back. Now.
Oh, my God.
Do they know
the
answer to that?
Is that not the worst thing you could ever think of, Jared? Like, even, and it's off topic, but the caller 2 callers ago that's like, fire Robinson, start Malik. I hope nobody actually believes that makes decisions. That's the dumbest thing ever. It's got my blood pressure up, man. And to think of that line with Malik behind that line is so scary.
I mean, it's scary to think of Tannehill behind that line. Thank you for calling him. It's scary to think about Tannehill behind that line.
That line is just terrifying.
Like, if it were me.
Not in a good way.
If it were me, I would keep Petit Ferrer next to Davis. It's like, okay, you know you're going to have to go through the growing pains. Just keep preaching what you're preaching to him. Don't switch him and then have to preach him something else. And that's why Dennis Daly's on the team, and Dennis Daly would play whatever tackle position. If Petit Ferrer ends up moving to left, then I would put Daly at right tackle. But I think that Sunday I would expect to see Dennis Daly at left tackle and Petit Ferrer at right tackle.
I don't really see a scenario in which Radens is playing tackle.
Here's what's crazy. If Radens could play tackle,
he would be.
If Radens could play guard,
he would be.
Doc is up next on the offensive line. What you got, Doc?
Man, along the lines of your last caller there, I'm new to the area and a long-time football fan, but if your offensive line is not going to do the job, it doesn't matter if you like Tannehill or not. You don't give him a chance to do anything with the ball. Your offensive line has to step up, or the season's going to be gone.
So I am a perpetual offensive line worrier, and I have yelled and screamed. Thank you for your call, Doc.
With this team, I think it's fair to be an offensive line worrier.
Well, I've been an offensive line worrier, when they had a good offensive line in 2019, because at the beginning of the year when they stuck Jameel Douglas out there, as much as like Marcus, I love Marcus. I really do. And I was watching the game on Sunday when Atlanta came back, and I'm like, come on, Marcus. And then Marcus threw the interception. I'm like, Marcus. I love Marcus. But the beginning of that season when they started 2-4, and everybody thinks it's as simple as they were 2-4, and they benched Marcus, and Tannehill came in, and on to prosperity they went, which is kind of true. But Taylor Lewan was out for the first 4 games serving a PED suspension. Roger Saffold was new and was learning what to do because those guys don't play preseason games or anything like that. So the only way to learn is to play the games. Nate Davis was a rookie and was hurt and missed most of training camp, and they had to start the year with Jameel Douglas at that position, and Dennis Kelly had to play right tackle because Jack Conklin was coming off a knee injury. I really didn't think it was fair to judge Marcus with that line that was in front of him at that point. But the reality of what he said is, Tannehill can't do anything with the ball if the line doesn't block. I agree. And so now there's 2 different, lines here for me. The first thing is every year over the last 4 years, they've gotten better throughout the course of the season. So if the same line coach is coaching them and every year they get better on the line throughout the course of the year, why should I not think that they're going to get better this year? Like, they have earned that. And I am not one to give, optimism like that out for free. So I do think that Coach Turbo, Keith Carter, the offensive line coach, and Vrabel, they have earned that the line will get better as the season goes on. The second thing is that with the line, I'm scared to death about Sunday. Like, I am scared, just like I was scared last week about
Chandler
Buffalo.
Jones, Max Crosby.
It's different for 2 reasons. One, the Titans know everything about what the Raiders are going to do defensively. Patrick Graham is their defensive coordinator. He's a Belichick guy. So they know what they're going to try to do. This isn't going to be like Wink Martindale. Secondly, the interior of the Raiders' defensive line is not the interior of the Buffalo Bills' defensive line. And the Raiders do not have the linebackers that the Bills have. The Bills have Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano, who are both above average, really, really good players. Edmonds is a Pro Bowler. Milano is like the captain of that defense. The Raiders have Jayon Brown. So I feel much better about that. Remember what I said last week? I don't remember if it was Thursday or Friday. And we were talking about Buffalo, and I was like, everybody knows everybody's stars. Everybody knows Devontae Adams. They know Derek Carr. They know Darren Waller. They know Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. But the other players, the other guys for the Bills, I mean, yes, we all know Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Von Miller, Jordan Poyer, but the other guys like Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds and Micah Hyde and Gabriel Davis, who didn't play, and Dawson Knox, and they're all really good.
And Matt Milano was all over the place.
They're all really good. The Raiders aren't that way. So that's – and the game's at home, and the Raiders are a West Coast team, so they're coming out here. Like, there are positives, but I am scared to death about the line. All right, TD. We'll get to TD, and I want TD's reaction because I'm sure he's been getting a lot of the negativity and the fire this coach or Robinson this or that or whatever. And I do wonder what TD thinks about that after 2 games. We'll get TD's thoughts on that next for the TD Power Hour. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch The Game.
39, pocket crumbling, down he goes. Hit on the play by Landry.
We talk The Game.
Harold Landry? Boy, you sure should pay him, right?
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights.
We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportbook BetUS.com is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offer their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their dealers are waiting for you at the table. You need a sportbook with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you will get paid. You need a sportbook that offer everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention 1025, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra, results vary.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game,
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. TD is here for the TD Power Hour. Teron Davenport, presented by Crane Works and Rental Works. TD, it's been a long week, hasn't it?
Nah, man, it hasn't been a long week, man. It can't be a long week when you're getting paid to do what we do, man. This is an easy week.
So what time did you have to wake up Monday night or Tuesday morning in Buffalo in order to be back by the noon press conference?
Well, I tell you what, whoever was next to me on the plane, I apologize if I was snoring, but I was knocked out. I Paul Kaharski, PK, and I, we got back to our hotels probably around 1:30. Got up. I got maybe 2 hours of sleep. I'm not complaining though, because it's part of it comes with the territory. So,
TD, let's start with this. I got all worked up today because this is why I don't listen to talk radio on the day after a game, because I don't want other opinions to affect my opinion. But all just the venom that, the Titan fans all offseason were talking about how Vrabel's coach of the year and that Mike Vrabel, 91 guys, and that Vrabel, he knows he's this, he's that. And, the Robinson stuff, we knew that they had whiffed in 2020 on Isaiah Wilson. We knew that the 2021 draft class was going to have to do something, really positive in order to have an impact this year. But yet it was almost like it took that Buffalo game in which they got housed by a team that was much better and healthier than them for these fans to unleash the venom. I feel like sometimes you probably see that more than I do.
Yeah.
and I kind of wonder what your thoughts on that are, as much as anything else, the level of panic with the start of the 0-2 season.
Well, I have to give you credit because you made an excellent point. I think it was Tuesday. No, it was yesterday. I'm not saying you go into a game expecting to get the brakes beat off of you, but you have to understand, as you said, this was the Buffalo Bills, which if you look top to bottom, there isn't a team in the NFL that's better than them. So you have to take this loss for what it was, right? It's a way to see how you measure up against the best team in the league right now. There's no need to panic from this perspective. The AFC South, Jared, collectively, how many wins do they have? One. You're still in the race. So I get that Sunday or Monday's game was just pitiful. It was terrible in all phases of the game. But there's still time to turn it around.
I guess the thing that bothers me too about it is it's like now people want to be mad about Isaiah Wilson. And I was talking about this earlier today, which was, on draft night when they picked Caleb Farley, Chris lost his mind. Mm-hmm. This year when they traded A.J. Brown, you were like, what are they doing?
Yeah, you don't see me get that upset too often, right?
It's almost like, TD, because you and I were talking about Morgan Moses a lot this offseason. Mm-hmm. Like, we were talking right tackle. What are they going to do at right tackle? And I remember thinking, like, they're going to let Radens try to win this job after they deactivated him in the playoff game? Like, with no backup, is that a good idea? And those things happen, and yet it's like all of a sudden Titan fans, don't pay attention to what we say about what happens in practice or what happens in the preseason games, or they don't take into account that Harold Landry, the Titans gave Harold Landry $20 million because straight up in one check, because they knew how important he was to the team. Mm-hmm. They don't just replace a Harold Landry like that, right. And they go on the road to Buffalo. Now, the field goal thing does bother me that they don't have a better kicker, but, again, they lose to the Giants on a field goal, and it was a game in which the second half that I think they really, truly wish they could go back and do it again.
Yeah, and last week, right around this time, one of the things I mentioned, because we talked about Randy Bullock, and I said, hey, man, Cade York, the LSU guy, Caroline, I know she knows about him. I thought that was a guy that they should have drafted. But it's always easier for us to sit here and say, hey, you should have done this and you should have done that. But,
sure.
I mean, you're 100% right. The special teams, that's something that has to be addressed. And I think what's happening with this team is you're seeing the last few draft classes, which have been spotty at best, right? You're seeing that start to catch up with you because when you can't retain veterans, right, a la Roger Saffold, a la Jack Conklin, a la Corey Davis, you have to be able to draft guys who can gradually step into that place. And you mentioned Dylan Radens. That pick, I remember we were sitting at the pizza spot doing the show, and I remember we all looked at each other like, what? And even, rest in peace, Mark Howard, I still remember looking over at him and him chuckling and just seeing his belly jump as he chuckled about it because we all were just like, I can't believe this pick. And I'm not here to beat on Dylan Radens, but, sure. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. That has not worked out at all.
I think, and I've talked about this, and we've talked about this, and we've talked to John Robinson about this, whatever's going on with the drafting, they got to get that figured out. Whether it's a scouting department thing, whether it's, the translation from what the coaches want or the coaches feel comfortable coaching to what the scouting staff is able to go find. College football makes it much harder now to find offensive linemen because of a lot of the offenses that they play. There's a lot of projection that goes into it. And yet at the same time, I think Robinson's still doing a pretty good job. Yeah. And for the fans that are worked up about Vrabel, isn't the biggest strength of Vrabel the fact that the team gets better throughout the course of the year? It's week 2.
Right. It is only week 2. 2019, this team had a terrible start. They caught a magic ride all the way to the AFC Championship game. And I tell you what, give or take a few plays, they might have been in the Super Bowl. So you got to understand, especially now, it's 17 games. Really, all you got to do is get in the dance. That's really all you have to do. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know as far as confidence is concerned. I would be more confident in this team going on the road somewhere and beating somebody on the playoffs than at home because we know how things are. The Vrabel special. This team is able to win games that they really have no business winning. They've done that consistently. And I think that's something you have to consider. So just get in the dance. That's really all you have to do.
One other thought from Monday night. Tell me if this is crazy. If Buffalo smacks Miami this weekend, which I think is a very intriguing game, if Buffalo smacks Miami this weekend like they smacked the Rams, like they smacked the Titans, 17-0 might be on the table for Buffalo. I know it's hard.
Stop. That's not happening.
You don't think so?
No, they're not going 17-0. They're not doing that. I mean, this is a good team. Don't get it twisted, but they're not going 17-0. We could look at their schedule. You know what? October 2nd against the Ravens. That's one. October 16th against the Chiefs. Oh, and Aaron Rodgers and the Packers come there on October 30th. And you always have that hiccup game. A team like the Bills could mess around and lose to the Jets within conference.
Normally to the Titans when they have their hiccup game.
Yeah, it has been. You're right about that. But, the Patriots, it could be – I don't think they go undefeated.
Here's the other thing. I didn't think the Titans could go and beat Buffalo. I didn't like the game plan that they took into that game offensively. Now, not to say that my game plan would have worked because it probably wouldn't have against Buffalo. But once Bud Dupree goes out of the game, that's $40 million worth of pass rusher that the Titans don't have between Dupree and Landry against Josh Allen. Yeah. And I know that, we're all looking out there and at Trey Avery and Chris Jackson and Caleb Farley. And I'm like, those guys aren't, even Roger McCreary, they're not supposed to be able to cover Stephon Diggs for 4 seconds. He's Stephon Diggs. And so I think that was one thing that kind of tempered my expectations on Monday night. When they got blown out Monday night, TD, I wasn't surprised. You were there. You said on the pregame show that, the atmosphere was electric. And
Dude,
they go in there with no pass rushers?
They had Jim Kelly, Marv Levy.
Yeah.
Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith. These guys were in the house, man. and the connection and everything, it was a very electric atmosphere. I'm glad you mentioned Trey Avery, Chris Jackson, and those guys. And one of the things that you have to remember when you don't have your best pass rushers, you're not going to win one-on-one matchups as much up front. What has this team been able to do that made the defense so good last year? Send 4, get pressure with that 4, drop 7 into coverage. You drop 7 into coverage, you could do more things as far as, coverages and things like that. That touchdown by Stephon Diggs, and I have to correct myself because I explained it wrong, and it was good that we got to talk to Shane Bowen about it. I got to talk to Kevin Byard about it as well. That 46-yard touchdown on the post route by Stephon Diggs against Trey Avery, that one was actually not on Kevin Byard. They were in inverted cover 2 where the corners had too deep coverage. It was Byard's responsibility to come down on that crossing route, and that's why he vacated the middle of the field. Now, you could say, hey, why would you put Trey Avery in man coverage against Stephon Diggs? I don't think that was necessarily what they were trying to do. It was zone coverage. That's who came into his zone, so he had to pick him up. So it kind of turned into man because he had to carry him in that deep post. So I just wanted to correct myself on that. I blame Kevin Byard for the touchdown, and I shouldn't have done that.
It's so funny you say that because I was actually talking to an NFL player today and somebody who is still in the league. And I told him, I said, I feel my biggest insecurity about this job is that I can watch the tape and still have no idea what happened on a play. And then get on the radio and say, this is what I think happened. Right. And, that's the job. But at the same time, it's like you said, even on the TV broadcast, they were like, oh, Byard's supposed to be the one who's back. And then the coach and the player are like, no, that wasn't the play call there. It's like I see, some.
Oh, they said it on the broadcast?
Oh, yeah.
Orlovsky and Lou Riddick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make you feel better?
I don't feel better because I was wrong. You know what I mean? But it just goes to show you that even, knowing what's going on, and that's why it's so difficult for me to be very harsh on a player. Sure. Because you never know what the assignment is. It's so tough. Now, there are some times where, you pointed to Torrey Carter, some of the missed blocks. It's just, come on, man. You have to do better than that. There are times like that, but – it's tough really to know what is going on when you don't know the game plan.
TD is with us here on the program. TD did ask Mike Vrabel, and this is where I feel like the extension of the media to the fans. TD, I didn't think that you either A, thought Todd Downing was going to get fired, or B, were advocating for Todd Downing's firing.
Right.
But you've heard enough of it from the fans. You asked Mike Vrabel about it. We'll get your thoughts to what he said on that coming up, and the offensive line. Because I think we know right now that's one of the biggest problems. We'll get TD's thoughts on that. It's the TD Power Hour presented by Craneworks and RentalWorks. Teron Davenport from ESPN is with us on Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now, 615-576-5000.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Baraggio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
See the latest from Baraggio, handcrafted on Fifth Avenue in New York by true artisans with unmatched attention to detail and the highest quality standards. Baraggio is the only ring that can be customized for every woman's specific desires. Come explore the entire Baraggio collection at Genesis.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings this Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports.
Root for safeties this season with your friends at Superbook Sports. If you bet with Superbook this football season, they will give you a $50 bonus if a safety is scored on a Sunday. From a punter running out of the end zone to the plain old QB sack worth 2 points, root for chaos and win money with Superbook this fall. Download the Superbook Tennessee app right now and start rooting for two with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why are these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
So many fans, they say, hey, as soon as something goes wrong, it's like, hey, fire Coach Downing. How do you respond to that?
That's just not, if I felt like there was anybody that, wasn't doing their job, we're just not going to do that. That's not something that's going to happen right now. I have confidence in our staff. I have confidence in the guys that we put out there. We have to continue to coach and execute better. But that's just not where we're. I appreciate everybody's opinion. I have to make sure that everybody here, that players and coaches are all aligned, and I know that they are. And that's how you get things fixed and you win a game.
There you go. Good question, TD. On Monday, even though you tried to ask it the nice way a couple of times, and finally you just had to ask Vrabel straight up.
Yeah, I always feel like you have to be careful how you phrase your question. Like the fans say, well, ask him why Todd Downing still has a job. Like, do you think I'm going to get an answer if I ask that question that way? So that's why you do that. I appreciate what he's saying as far as the collective effort that it requires, and he's right. I think there are times where Todd Downing has called, made some solid play calls. I think you look at the Bills game, opening it up like that, knowing their tendency to run on first down. So play action, you get Traylon Burks in space, and he makes the catch for a 14-yard gain, and you start off with a positive play, and then you build off of that. So I just think it has to be more consistent. I don't think he's a terrible play caller, but I think he has to more consistently be able to dial up plays like that. Or you look, one of the turning points in the game I felt was when Robert Woods caught that screen. Another
Ben Jones, yep.
Yeah, and it was when you're going against an aggressive defense like that, the screen is usually one. I think one thing he can do is in that game, he could have screened it to Henry a little bit more. But when you're going against aggressive defense, that was a good play call, but it got called back by, as you mentioned, the Ben Jones penalty. And that was a turning point, in my opinion.
I only had 2 play calls that I wrote down in the entire course of the game when Tannehill was in there that I thought were bad play calls, including one where I thought Tannehill should have checked out of the play. Yeah. And I just don't – I don't think that if – trying to think of the best play caller of all time. Like if Kyle Shanahan, who is not the best play caller of all time, but first thing that popped into my mind.
You could go to his dad is a really good one. Or you could go, the great one, Bill Walsh.
Okay, sure. Bill Walsh. If Bill Walsh was running the offense on Monday night, I don't think it would have made a difference.
Because they were just outmatched that much, right?
Yes. Yeah. I just think about it like this, and this is the bigger question, which is, like, they can't block that. They can't block in order to get into a shootout passing game with the Buffalo Bills. And I actually cut this clip and didn't play it, but I was going to play it if this kind of became the discussion because I did think that we were going to get more of the whole, Tannehill needs to go out there and rise above and everything else. And there was a cut from 2019 before the Titans played the Chiefs where I asked the GM if Tannehill, if he had to, could go out there and play shootout ball with Mahomes. And he just said, no, that's not how they win.
Right.
And you go back to that game, Derrick Henry had 180 yards, Tannehill had 180 yards. That's how this team wins. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to playing the Bills, they knew it, and you could see it a lot in some of the play calls. They knew they had to stay out of passing situations. And they were never, I'm listening to Booger at halftime, and this drove me crazy, TD, but I hear Booger McFarland at halftime say, Tannehill has to start taking some shots down the field. I'm like, how?
How are you going to do that with Von Miller breathing down your neck, with Jordan Phillips holding his own on his – Did you see Gregory Rousseau's bull rush?
Oh, on Aaron Brewer?
Good Lord almighty. And I remember Rousseau coming out. I didn't like him as a prospect, but I liked him on that play. That's for sure.
And so to me, I think Downing is getting a lot of blame just because he's the popular target here.
Right.
I brought this up yesterday, and I want your opinion on this, which is each of the last 3 years, we've been talking about the offensive line at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And every year it's, oh, my God, Jack Conklin's gone. What are they going to do? And then it's, oh, my God, Taylor tore his ACL. What are they going to do? And then it's rushing title, 2,000 yards. Derrick Henry gets hurt. They still run the ball. I have to believe that Vrabel and Keith Carter have at least earned enough credibility for us to expect that the line is going to get better throughout the course of the year. What are your thoughts on that?
Wait a minute. Time out. You mean to tell me you're giving Keith Carter some credit?
Well, I only complained about it 3 years only to have them get better every year, and then everybody say, what do you think now? So I'm just anticipating that the same thing's going to happen again.
Turbo set Hut on that one.
Turbo.
I think that is correct. I mean, these guys, look at what they had to do. You got Bobby Hart starting games. I mean, David Quesenberry started at left tackle when Lawan went down. They had a guy rush for 2,000 yards.
Number 2 offense in the NFL with David Quesenberry at left tackle.
So, I think you definitely have to look at that. I feel bad for Coach Downing because he hasn't gotten the full deck of cards yet. When is he going to get the full deck of cards consistently? I mean, granted, you had for the most part the first 8 games last year, but Lawan was still working his way back from the ACL. So it's just like I'm not making excuses for the man. I think, and that's why I asked him today about the formation. Right, you went big personnel, and you passed out of that. Do you feel like maybe you need to scale it back and just revisit and refine what it is that this team does really well offensively and kind of stick to that? And I think that's where they are right now. You got to do something good before you get into all the trickery and extra deception and stuff like that. And I think that's where the team is. And you want to talk about the offensive line, Jared? Check this out, right? Collectively, Derrick Henry has, I think it's 34 carries. Yeah, 21 against the Giants, 13 against the Bills, 34 carries. He's been hit at or behind the line on 16 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost half.
I mean, I went and watched the tape of all the running plays yesterday morning, and I mean, there are some, and I put some of them on Twitter. There's one that got me where they run a counter, I think. Mm-hmm. And they ended up gaining some yards on. No, they lost one in the backfield. Nate Davis goes out to pull on Rousseau and just whiffs. There's a giant hole for Derrick Henry. Micah Hyde is the only guy to beat. And Derrick Henry is getting ready to shoot through that hole. And from the left side, Rousseau comes out because Nate Davis just whiffs. And after Nate Davis just whiffs, he just puts his hands on his hip like, my bad.
Yeah, you can't have those things. I tell you another play that kind of frustrated me. Toss sweep, short side of the field. And look, man, I'm not a play caller, man. Like, sure. I'm not Sherm Lewis. But I just don't think that sweep to the short side is the thing to do. I don't agree with that. I mean, maybe they found something that made them feel, analytics-wise or something that was a call. But it's just when you're going against a team like the Bills, man, Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano, these guys, the safeties, they stay, deep, but they'll come down and they'll feel against the run too. I just don't think running those type of plays is the best thing to do because of their personnel, how fast and powerful they are.
Well, the one where I looked across the board and I was like, I don't know what even to say about this. They lost one on an I formation run, 1st and 10. They basically brought the jumbo goal line package out with Radens as an eligible tackle at midfield on 1st and 10. Hollister was the only wide receiver in on the play, and the Bills had dropped 9 into the box. And I'm like, at this point, with only Hollister as the eligible receiver and Swaim as a tight end, at this point, Tannehill has to know this isn't going to work out. And he's got to, either check out of it or call the timeout and say, we're not running into 9. And then, once they ran it, they pitched it to the left. Brewer crashes inside instead of going outside.
Mm-hmm.
Carter missed a block. And so now when Derrick Henry catches the pitch, there's already 3 Buffalo Bills in the backfield. And that was one where I'm like, I'm not sure about the play call of bringing in the jumbo package at the 50-yard line on first down. I'm not sure about the quarterback looking at what he saw and not saying, no, we're not doing this. And then I'm not even sure, 3 guys whiffed on the blocks. And the only guy who I knew what he was doing and I understood it was Derrick Henry, which was trying to make something out of nothing, and he couldn't. But I'm with you on the pitches. But again, it's tough because, they don't hit it, and it's easy to say, what are they doing pitching it? And I understand the second-guess nature. And normally I'm okay with second-guessing. Where it bothers me with this is the idea that play calling is why they lost Monday night, because it's not.
And you can't say that because it was just, you saw an imbalance of talent. That's really the bottom line. And think about this. They didn't have Gabriel Davis on the field.
Oh, no.
Their main vertical threat. So that is a game you have to just flush. But as we mentioned, the really good thing for this team is that the rest of the division is, not good right now. And after the Raiders, you got a chance to go to Indianapolis. Now, granted, you take it 1 week at a time, but you could roll a win against the Raiders into a road game against the Colts, and then that could really give you an opportunity to position yourself for the next few weeks in the season.
2-2, and they're right on schedule. TD is with us. Coming up next, TD on the Raiders. So we'll move it forward past all the drama, right to the Raiders. I am getting nervous, though. We'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Again, the TD Power Hour is presented by Craneworks and RentalWorks here on the program. Your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit craneworks.com. Hey, be sure to tune into the College Football Game of the Week on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. This Saturday, Arkansas and A&M at 6 o'clock. The College Football Game of the Week is brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Superbook Sports, voted Vegas's #1 sportsbook. Download their app today.
Every Monday at 6, it's the Eddie George Show live from 6th and Peabody.
When we hit the turf and clock in, we're locked in, and we're committed to our craft.
Each week, the former Titan and current TSU head coach will be joined by Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton.
Props to you and your staff, but also to the kids that have bought into everything you're saying.
And special guests to break down the Tigers' latest game and talk all things football. The Eddie George Show, Mondays at 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey football fans, Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Fall is finally here, and you know what that means. The Nashville Oktoberfest in Germantown. With VIP tickets, you have all-day access to a dedicated private bar, unlimited Bavarian fare and drinks, luxury bathrooms, and a beer and whiskey tasting. It's first-class accommodations to enjoy the festival in style. Grab your Oktoberfest VIP tickets at thenashvilleoktoberfest.com. The Nashville Oktoberfest 2022, Thursday, October 6th through Sunday, October 9th at Bicentennial Mall in Germantown. Prost, y'all!
Get your game on at Social Furniture. Entertain in style and make your social experience more comfortable with new furniture. Everyone loves to socialize. That's why you need new furniture. Save big. Professional same-day delivery and installation. Finance interest-free. Get rewarded with social cash back. Buy $1,000, get $125 cash back. Buy $3,000, get $450 cash back on your Social Furniture gift card to spend on accessories, new TV, sports events, or anything you like. Huge selection in stock. Shop local. Shop social.
College football season is here. Finally, it's me, Caroline Fenton, and you already know that I am pumped up for college football season. And Southeastern Carolines, you know that 312 Pizza Company is my favorite place in town. 312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Music City. You can catch every down of the college football season at 312 Pizza Company from week 1 of the national championship. 312 Pizza Company is your home for college football season.
It's time to swing for the stars with the Nashville Stars. Join the group that's trying to bring Major League Baseball to the Music City for their inaugural golf tournament. The event is Friday, October 7th at Ted Rhodes Golf Course. Proceeds from the tournament benefit the Nashville Stars Youth Foundation and the Tennessee State University Athletics Fund. For information about playing or sponsorship opportunities, please visit MLBMusicCity.com and click on Events.
You can't get much for $5 these days. Unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT. Plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink. All for just $5. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're gonna feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Yeah, I'm excited to go get back on the field and play another game. You have an outing like that, you want to get past it as quickly as you can and go get things going in the right direction.
You see enough of Chandler Jones last year? You'd like to keep him at arm's length this year?
I like to keep all the big guys up front at arm's length. Obviously talented edge players that they have between Chandler and Max on the other side. Guys who play fast, they're long, they're active, they play hard, and they're disruptive. So definitely have to be aware of those guys and how to play them.
Oh, no. The Titans with the tackle situation, what it is, Taylor Lewan not practicing today, which probably means Dennis Daly and Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, as Chris Sanders likes to call him, PT. PT out there against Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. TD is with us, TD Power Hour, presented by Craneworks and Rentalworks. TD, your thoughts on the Raiders?
Yeah, well, let me say this. Outside of the massacre in the season opener where Chandler Jones had 5 sacks, he hasn't really, over the last year and 2 games, he hasn't really done a whole lot. Mm-hmm. So the name is there, and there's always the chance that he could turn back the clock, but the one to be concerned about is Max Crosby. And I remember him we had him on Talking with TD when he was coming out, and he was a guy that not many people were talking about, but he's evolved into one of the best pass rushers in the game. So you have that. I think when you look at Denzel Perryman, Jayon Brown, familiar face, number 5, I can never pronounce his name. When you look at those guys, they're all fast and able to fill. And some of them could cover. Number 5 is a solid cover guy. They've used him in some of their sub packages even. He's remained on the field. In fact, there was a play I drew up for Whiteboard Wednesday, and they still had him in their sub package. So you got that. Jonathan Abrams is a guy, he'll come down and thump you. And I'm looking forward just to seeing, how they're going to use him, if they're going to drop him down in the box and allow him to try to, deliver some hits on Derrick Henry. That's something to watch. I like the matchups, though, against the corners. Now, Nate Hobbs is a guy who came into the league a couple years ago. He was a top-level nickel corner, but he's actually moved to the outside, so you have him. I like Rock Ya-Sin. He's a guy that –
So does Tannehill.
Why you say that?
Tannehill has absolutely gone after him every time they play.
Well,
when he was in Indianapolis.
It's a lot easier to do that when some guy named Xavier Rhodes wasn't there. But when some guy named A.J. Brown is your guy, I would take him against most corners too. But nevertheless, he's somebody. And I think, there could be some good matchups in this game for the Titans receivers. And it goes back to what I wrote about a couple weeks ago and what I talked to Traylon Burks about is, look, man, they're going to put all of Las Vegas in the box. That means one-on-one coverage on the outside. And one of the things I love about Traylon Burks is he said he takes that personally because it means they think their guy can lock him down. And he said it again. I take that personally. So I want to see them start beating those one-on-one matchups.
So here's my big concerns. The Titans tackles versus Crosby and Jones, specifically Crosby, which is crazy that they whiffed on the Cleveland Farrell pick, but they got Max Crosby in the same draft.
Right.
So the Titans tackles, and I think the problem with Petit Ferrer right now is more so him not knowing what to do or being unsure, like when they are sliding protections and stuff, than it is him not being able to block. But if he doesn't know who to block in this game, that's going to be a problem. And then Dennis Daly, my problem with him is just blocking against those two guys. And then Bud Dupree not practicing today. No Bud Dupree. If he's not out there, I worry about Derek Carr standing back in the pocket, waiting for Devontae Adams to get open, which he will because he's Devontae Adams, and then that being a problem too. And then there's Renfro if he plays, and then there's Waller who's also a beast. So if the Titans don't get to Carr, I'm pretty worried.
Oh, and by the way, you got Josh Jacobs running like he's a man on a mission. So you have that as well. You mentioned Devontae Adams, and I think something we have to look at. He was targeted 17 times in the season opener. Ended up, I think it was 10 receptions for $141 and a touchdown. He was shut out in the second half of the Cardinals game. Mm-hmm. You know what's going to happen. They're going to try to get him checked in early.
Oh, yeah.
And Shane Bowen has said something to that extent that he expects him to get creative and try to find ways to get him the football. I think Roger McCreary is a guy to watch this week. Now, obviously, he's going to be matched up against Hunter Renfrow. And fortunately for these guys, they got the chance to go against, Hunter Renfrow, a younger version of him, and Kyle Phillips. And we know Phillips, what he did to a lot of these DBs during camp. So that's something to watch. But I think when you look at McCreary, he is someone they're not going to travel. Right? They're not going to have corners travel with Devontae Adams. But I think McCreary will get plenty of opportunities to go against him because of the fact that Shane Bowen said that he expects him to be creative. What does McCreary do in their sub packages? He bumps inside. So I think that'll give him more opportunities.
How nervous do you think they are about putting Farley out there?
It's so crazy. Back-to-back weeks. I remember when I was evaluating, watching Farley come out of school, I really liked him. But I said to myself, the Stephon Diggs of the world and the Devontae Adams of the world, I think they'll give him trouble. Now, of course, TD, they're the best receivers in the league. I'm saying that just because of their route running ability. You know what I mean? And I think they're going to trust. They have to, right? Because, what else are you going to do?
Champ Bailey.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't mention Ty Law. I'm like, dang, bro, Ty Law was your teammate. You watched Super Bowls together. You gonna mention Champ instead of? But nevertheless, I think you have to. Trey Avery is a guy that's in the mix. But the best thing that happened for them is Fulton coming back. Mm-hmm. But it's just, what are you going to do in sub packages, right? Because their sub package in the season opener, Ugo Amadi was a nickel. Farley and Fulton McCreary and Fulton remained on the outside. Amadi's out now, so.
You know how I feel about DBs, though.
Can't have enough of them.
If you get to the quarterback, the worst DBs end up in the Pro Bowl. If you don't get to the quarterback, it doesn't matter if Deion Sanders and Ronnie Lott are out there. And I felt that way Monday night, which was, and again, football's not fair, but what happened to Trey Avery and Chris Jackson and Roger McCreary, I didn't think was really fair. When Bud Dupree went out of the game and they had two outside backers, and then Ola Adaney went out of the game, and then they had to put Joe Jones out there to try to go rush the quarterback, and Josh Allen, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, just standing there in the pocket, patting the ball, waiting for Stephon Diggs to get open.
Route.
So
Lord have mercy.
I'm just really worried about that happening because there is regardless of whether or not he gets a bunch of sacks, there is a difference when Bud Dupree's out there and when he's not.
Yeah, because he impacts the quarterback.
He's a good player. He's a really good player.
He is. And that was one of the things. It was almost like a luxury to have him when Landry went down. Because okay, well, now you got Dupree and Archer, So that is something to definitely keep in mind. He missed practice Wednesday and today with the hip. He didn't come back after that hip, so yeah, it could get a little ugly. It could definitely get a little ugly, but I think Jeffrey Simmons is the guy. And I want to see how they use him because, he's one of those guys he's a piano man, right? You could play him up and down the line of scrimmage. And I personally would try to get him more looks on the outside, you know what I mean, and maybe stunt with him. Whether it's Tart or Naquan Jones, Kevin Strong, whoever, have them slash and him loop around. You got to try to do some things to get this offensive line a little confused so you could get to the quarterback.
2 quick ones for you, TD. What's the word on the street on Lawan?
Just because he was walking around, that doesn't necessarily mean that, everything is fine. But I talked to an injury person, and they said that if it was, in fact, torn, it's very likely that they would have went right to surgery. So it's just a wait-and-see thing. They sent him out there to L.A. to get a second, opinion, a further evaluation, and that's, from my understanding, where it is.
Okay, and then the other quick one, punt returner. Phillips goes back there or what?
I put him back there. I think it's important to get him right back there right away because you had to give him a shot to redeem himself. I talked to him a little bit before locker room cleared out, and he took it really personally. He feels bad about it, but he was very he looked me right in the face and said, I'm the punt returner. I should be the punt returner. I could still do it. So I think you give him a shot.
What's funny is that after we were done talking to you on Monday night, Derek and I talked for about 5 or 6 minutes about how hard it is to field punts in that stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Derek knows all about that, but I was like, I'm worried about the kid back there, man.
It didn't matter who was back there. Even veteran Robert Woods, he was able to field it. But, Jared, let me tell you, man, when I said the flags, it was whirling in a circle. So it was that was real, man. That wind was back there, and it kind of tailed away from him. And he told me that he got a little greedy and tried to make a play, and,
Yes. Yes. Derek was like, yeah, it's really hard to catch punts there, but it shouldn't be that hard. I was like, maybe not that hard for you.
Right.
TD is with us. Get your thoughts in for TD. 615-737-1025. Your questions for TD. We're right to them next. TD Power Hour, Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes. Like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus, finally done with record heat after back-to-back days of breaking high temperature records today. The first day of fall and feeling like it. Lower 80s and lower humidity into the afternoon. A few clouds on and off, but relatively a nice day.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
At Cordell & Cordell, we focus on representing men in domestic relations cases.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
We recognize that our clients are going through perhaps the toughest time they will ever go through. We understand that everything that's important to them is on the table. Their assets, the role in their children's lives. That's an immense responsibility that our clients entrust us with, and we take that very seriously. We've been trained to do that. We've helped thousands of clients before. And it's our hope that you'll choose to entrust us with what's most important to you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
It's grillin' and chillin' season, and Hiller is giving away backyard freebies all September. This month, when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater, we'll give you a free Yeti Tundra cooler, or get a free Traeger grill with any new whole home generator. And we're offering special zero-interest financing for up to 48 months on select new HVAC system replacements. Book online at happyhiller.com today. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it.
haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah. The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industry. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at harmanenergy.com.
Chase McCabe.
Competition in all positions.
Willie Donick.
You know what? I went on the radio and I tried.
And Derek Mason.
The man that sleeps on the floor never falls out to bed.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, TD Power Hour. Hey, join Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell tomorrow for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy from 6 to midnight. They'll preview the big games and then take you through the night of high school football around the Mid-State. The Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. TD Power Hour. Teron Davenport is with us. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. To the phones.
You just not going to acknowledge that music, though?
The Edwin Diaz walkout song?
Let's go, Mets.
How disappointed was I yesterday when the Braves lost to the crummy Washington Nationals as the Mets were losing to the Brewers because it would have been tied and I would have been able to talk all that trash.
You were very sad. But that is a very fun divisional race to follow.
It is fun.
Yeah.
We got our ring, though, so, you know, it's...
to the phones.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, call me when you have 14. Belvis texts in and says, TD, I know that Danico Autry is versatile, but why does Vrabel continue to only bring up three outside linebackers on game day? He pulled that crap during the failed Clowney experiment.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. Danico Autry's versatility. That's really what it comes down to. And, I mean, when they have a shortage of that, they're so deep on the defensive line that they'll just, switch up the looks. And remember, they don't always go like 3-4. They want it to be a multiple front. So that's, in my opinion, why it goes into it. I don't know who else you would call up, though. Honestly, I mean, there's not much after the guys that they're rolling with.
So here's the one thing that bothers me about that. David Aneni got like 5 sacks in the preseason, and they don't keep him. They put him on the practice squad. Then Harold Landry gets hurt, and they don't add him to the roster. And then he gets claimed by somebody else. Then they sign Tack McKinley to take that spot, and then he gets signed by somebody else. I mean,
yeah, the thing that I thought, okay, if you're not going to bring in Aneni, if he's not going to put him on the roster, I thought, okay, well, go get Kamoto Toure. Mm-hmm. He's a guy on the 49ers practice squad that, I mean, he had, 5 sacks a couple years ago with the Colts. I think, that's someone that, but again, there has to be something that, I guess, Derek Tusker is a guy that, they went and got. We'll see. I mean, I haven't really gotten to see him play, and I'm very unfamiliar, so, I don't know.
By the way, the one guy who is balling out that nobody talks about, Tier Tart, is balling out.
Oh, my goodness.
He is balling out.
Isn't he? You like watching that end zone view, right?
He literally eats people.
You see his stuff? He had a couple run stuffs, man. Quick arm over swim move. Got right there in the backfield, took him down, man.
Yeah, Tier Tart is good. Chris is up next. Chris, you're on with TD. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Chris.
Tells the truth in the building. Gentlemen,
here we go.
No, actually, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it simple real quick. First off, I want to ask a couple things about what's up with Zach Cunningham and David Long, because they have seemed to struggle in the middle. And also, and Jared, I know you're going to hate this. Dennis Daly is terrible. You may not have any choice. We may have to go to Raiders and left tackle, but they've probably given up on him. And That's really the main thing that I have on that. But what can we do to fix in the middle of the defense with Zach Cunningham and David Long? They seem to be struggling.
Thank you, Chris. Why do I hate Dennis Daly? I mean,
I think he meant you're going to hate them having to go to Dylan. Him saying they have to go to Dylan Radins. I think that's where he was getting at. Which that's not exactly the best thing. I would honestly, I think Eric Fisher. Look, he's not the same. Let's not get it messed up. But I think that's somebody they might want to look at. But as far as Zach Cunningham, and that, there was the touchdown that the fullback had should have been a tackle for a loss.
Oh my God!
And Zach Cunningham failed to bring him down, and that play actually was kind of like the gates really starting to open, and that's something that even with David Long, like you're not seeing that same. I mean, there were a couple times where he ran down a quarterback, but you're not just seeing. It's just not the same as far as that sideline to sideline pursuit and the ability to go to the back and bring him down. So I mean, Chris is right. That second level is definitely leaving some to be desired.
I have a theory on the Radins thing. If Radins could play left tackle, he would be playing left tackle. If Radins could play left guard, he would be playing left guard. I think they really want to try to not have to play him.
Yeah, I mean, look at how Dennis Daly was, a trade just before roster, just after the rosters were cut down to 53, and he already leaped for, come on.
Isaac from Dixon, Texan, and asked the question I think we're all asking ourselves. What can the Titans do to help the offensive line so the offense can get going?
Good question.
That is a good question.
Yeah, and it goes back to something that we talked about after the Jets game as far as designing ways to get these guys open quickly. So what does that mean? Okay, you could go with some bunch formations, use switch releases and those type of things to try to get guys open immediately. More screens. Like I said, the Robert Woods play call was a really good well-timed screen. I think the other thing that looks at, more mesh routes and those type of things, stuff that hits quickly, that gets these guys open. That's really the main thing. And, play action is critical. That's actually the play. What I did for Whiteboard Wednesday, I went back and broke down the play action pass to Traylon Burks for the 14-yard gain in the season opener. And I keep saying play action because that means max protection. So on that one, you got 6 guys in blocking, but then you had Derrick Henry come up, check at the line, if anybody leaks through, and then releases to the flat. That's a way to get more protection. You got to chip and those type of things. But here's the problem. It used to be the left side. Okay, you know what? Pretty much anybody we face, we could leave Lawan one-on-one. And I'm saying we as from a coach's perspective.
Sure.
Right? So just to make sure that's clear. So you can't do that anymore because now pretty much anybody you face, you have to, on both sides, you're in trouble because you can't just say, okay, you know what, I can trust you against him. So you have to do things, whether it's the back coming up and chipping on him before he releases to the route or just marrying Jeff Swaim to whatever side that he lines up on to help out. So now you got issues, and that puts a lot more strain on your guys on the interior. And then when teams start to do different things as far as blitzing and stunts and stuff like that, it's just an added layer that makes it more difficult.
Another texter texts in and asks TD, is it okay for Jared to get worried and panic before the season starts and try to straighten us out when we're 0-2 and worried?
No, I think that shows progression. Where it's okay, these were concerns. The concerns are resurfacing, but how can you fix those concerns? So I think it's fine. You don't stay in a state of worry. At some point, you got to try to figure out, okay, how can that problem be fixed?
I'm just going to say it about the GM thing. The Titans had a good GM once upon a time. And we all know how smart he was and how much he knew about the game. And then the Titans decided to make a change after the salary cap, and this was back when they couldn't add void years and all these other things into it. When the salary cap, came to a head, you had to restart. And for some reason, they decided not to go in that direction. Bud Adams, Jeff Fisher, whatever. And the Titans were really, really bad for a long, long time. And what I'm saying is that if you all think that it's a lot better than John Robinson out there, you forgot what it was like when your team was 2-14 and 3-13. I'm not saying that I wasn't worried about the season. I mean, I'm worried about the season this week. They lose to the Raiders and they start 0-3. I mean, that's not, even in a bad division, 0-3 is not good. But as far as like the idea of, Vrabel, he needs guys.
He just won it. Bingo. Say it. Finish.
I mean, come on now.
Right.
TD, great stuff as always. Talking with TD this week. I know we got a preview of the Raiders. I know Chris went on there and probably said some crazy stuff. What else we got?
Yeah, that's what we got. Paul Gutierrez, ESPN NFL Nation Raiders reporter. Really good updates on Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, the secondary. Really good updates there. Max Crosby, Derek Carr, Josh McDaniels as well. So, yeah, definitely he brought it. And we broke down the Stephon Diggs touchdown, but don't listen to it because it was wrong.
There you go. TD, great stuff. Appreciate you, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yep, Teron Davenport, presented by Craneworks and Rentalworks, always joining us here on a Thursday. Coming up next, the country is unfairly coming after Ryan Tannehill. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by UC Salem.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportsbook BetUS.com is back for our 29th year of football action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-789-BETUS and get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Veragio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Bavarian Beer House at Opry Mills. Bavarian Beer House, Nashville's only authentic German beer hall, is full of fun, food, music, and most importantly, beer. Enjoy traditional German bratwurst, schnitzel, giant pretzels, and more in an Oktoberfest-inspired space. Visit BeerHouseNashville.com for their live music schedule. Get a $50 gift card for half off right now at thegamenashville.com/deals while supplies last.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to the losses of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So yesterday I lost Jared versus Joe. Fair and square. I thought the judge's ruling was, I disagreed with, but I understood.
Okay, thank you.
And today I went back on Robbie and Rex Road, and Joe and I were screaming at each other, and the point we were screaming about was the possible quarterback controversy that Mike Vrabel almost started or could have started on Monday night if Malik Willis had just played well, which he did not. But the possible quarterback controversy that the Titans could have faced if Malik Willis had, taken him down, scored a touchdown, whatever. And Joe's like, it wouldn't have affected that team. Nobody's saying that. Only 9 people on Twitter believe it, even though the first 2 callers into today's show both referenced putting Malik in there when the discussion literally had nothing to do with Malik.
But that take is still bonkers.
But
no matter how many people have it, it is bonkers, idiotic, stupid, not right. I can continue.
I know, but that doesn't mean that people don't have it, and that's how things become things.
But those people are wrong.
So, I was looking for the Tannehill press conference this morning from yesterday. Put in Tannehill on YouTube. All these videos came up. The national media and former NFL players. And remember, Malik Willis did not play well when he went into the game on Monday. He was terrible.
No.
Now, all those people had flipped over to the Eagles anyway, so they didn't see it, especially since ESPN was pumping them to go over to the Eagles. But
the split screen was driving me insane.
They had all flipped over when they watched Malik stink it up. But let's start with Nick Wright on Fox Sports 1. Now, I'm not a huge Nick Wright guy, but again, this is cable around the country. People watch this stuff. This is what Nick Wright said about the Titans quarterback situation.
We're to that chapter of the Ryan Tannehill book. When you have limited upside, and everyone knows you have limited upside, and the team's kind of been carrying you, you don't recover from the playoff game he had last year as the 1 seed at home, starting the game with a pick, ending the game with a pick, throwing a brutal pick in the middle of all that. And so, yeah, I think that, listen, I don't think Malik Willis is near ready. But I know that this team. How soon
would you go to him?
I'd have to pull up their schedule before Thanksgiving. That's what I said before the year. Ryan Tannehill doesn't make it to Thanksgiving because this team stinks.
There you go.
How can you say, I don't know what their schedule is, but I know when the backup should go in?
Well, I do think before Thanksgiving is a fair demarcation line. I don't know the Predators' schedule, but, I know how I feel about how they should be on January 1st.
But also, how can you say that this team stinks when they have played 2 games?
I mean, that's just – the fans here think this team stinks.
Well, they're fans.
I know. Everybody thinks the Titans stink.
Nick Wright does this for a living.
Everybody thinks the Titans stink. Everybody.
That doesn't mean that the Titans do stink. That doesn't mean that the Titans will stink.
I'm just saying, everybody thinks this team stinks right now. Let me be very clear. Everybody thinks this team stinks. But what does Nick Wright know, right?
On to the next.
Okay. Pat McAfee is now a nominee for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So he at least has that. He also is the second most watched sports host digitally in America behind Skip Bayless. He is number 2 in the country in this. This was Pat McAfee.
In Tennessee, there may be Malik chance. Now, remember, Vrabel has pulled the trigger on a quarterback before in the past. Mariota was the starter there before Tannehill was. Yeah. Say, get the hell out of here. Mariota wasn't bad. Not great. Wasn't bad. Get the hell out of here. An unproven guy that come from somewhere else can become our starter. They go on, boom, have great success. Will he do that again with Malik? I'm not bringing it up because that's very negative. I assume Vrabel will be patient. Vrabel said after the game, we got to figure out a way to win games.
Yeah.
Hey, don't we all, Vrabes?
Yeah.
Don't we all? Are they doing Malik chants in Tennessee, you think?
McAfee says this unproven guy, Ryan Tannehill, who's been a starter in Miami, he
was
drafted in the
unproven,
first round.
He was unproven.
But if we want to talk about the scale of unproven, Malik Willis is so much more unproven than Ryan Tannehill was when he got here.
All I remember is doing the radio show on a Wednesday after they made it official and talking about Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow and Tua, and are they going to be bad enough to be able to get Tua? Probably not. Okay, well, who else? What about Herbert? Well, they just drafted a guy from Oregon. You want another guy from Oregon? And by the way, the answer is yes.
What's wrong with drafting two guys from Oregon?
That's how people get. Remember the Isaiah Zeke
So many
don't
people are
draft
saying
him
don't draft
Isaiah
Georgia
Wilson.
kids. Yeah, no more Georgia guys.
So, McAfee's saying, hey, are they, is Vrabel going to pull the trigger on this? So, again, we got Fox, Nick Wright, McAfee, and people see this stuff even though
McAfee,
Joe
who I'm sure would love to watch the Titans crash and burn.
Okay, now this is the doozy here. This is David Carr. David Carr played in the NFL. He was the first ever pick of the Houston Texans. He played in the NFL for like a decade with the Texans, and then he was the backup to Eli with the Giants. He's been on TV for a while. His brother probably, this probably has nothing to do with the fact that his brother is quarterbacking against the Titans this week. But Mike Robinson, who's a former player, and David Carr, who's a former player, on the NFL Network were talking about this. And the Mike Robinson thing at the end is my favorite part. But here was, they asked the question, should the Steelers go with Kenny Pickett? Should the Titans go with Malik Willis? On NFL Network, here's David Carr, and Mike Robinson.
All right, so specifically Malik Willis, let's talk about him. So I watched Mike Vrabel go over and really console Ryan Tannehill and talk to him like, dude, you're still going to be our guy. And I think that that's probably the case. The issues there are a little bit deeper, right? I think we've all talked about this. Derrick Henry's not really getting the yards that he needs. And I think it's because their best player honestly plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's A.J. Brown. So what do? I think that you can still implement Malik Willis because look at this. We watched this in the preseason. He's very exciting, very electric with his feet. And that's what he wants to do. That's like the default. We talked about Jalen Hurts earlier. That's where they're going to go first. They feel comfortable there. Yes, he can throw the football down the field. I think that's going to take a little bit more time, though. So what do you do in the meantime? I think you still implement him in the offense to give you a little bit of a spark, man. Like, get that run game going with Malik in there, and maybe you can make a couple plays on the perimeter and then throwing Ryan back in there because Ryan still is going to give you a little bit more on third down in the red zone. We just got to wait. Let's be a little bit patient with Malik Willis. Not yet.
You already know what happens when you put a backup quarterback in
I already know, man.
snaps.
You got to be.
He has some success.
That's exactly
You
right.
already know they're going to be saying Ryan Tannehill got to go.
That's my favorite part.
Ryan Tannehill got to go.
At the end, it's like, let's just drop some plays from Malik and then put Ryan back in there. And Mike Robinson's like, you know what happens when you do that? Oh, I know what happens when you do that.
When you have two quarterbacks, you have none.
And you see the point that I was making, though, about when they put Malik in the game and if Malik does well and how David Carr is like, oh, I already know if they put him in there and he plays well, I already know what's going to happen. And that was the whole point I was trying to make. And so you and Joe and everybody else can pretend as if this cloud of Malik is not hanging over Ryan Tannehill because in reality it should not be because they are not comparable because Tannehill is so far ahead of Malik Willis and because Tannehill has done nothing wrong this season. And yet at the same time, I am telling you, this is going to be a thing.
And it's also astonishing because let's say hypothetically Ryan Tannehill doesn't throw 3 interceptions against the Bengals. I don't think this would ever be a topic of conversation, even if Malik Willis does go in the third quarter against the Buffalo Bills.
Well, they may not have drafted Malik Willis if Ryan Tannehill didn't throw 3 picks against the Bengals.
No, but I'm just saying the last thing that anyone has seen nationally from Ryan Tannehill is 3 interceptions against the Bengals and a pick 6 against the Bills.
Sure.
So, of course, that's the conversation
think
that's
he
going
sucks.
on nationally.
They think he sucks.
They think he sucks. And everyone is looking at Malik Willis as the draft pick with first-round hype.
Right.
And nobody is looking at Malik Willis as the quarterback who looked completely stunned and terrified against the Bills.
How culpable is Ryan Tannehill for why the Titans are 0-2?
I would say 0.02%.
Okay. everybody else thinks it's 100% because he's the quarterback.
Well, everyone else is wrong.
I know. But this is the one thing. You know what? This is how I feel about the 2020 election. Everybody who voted for one guy cannot understand how other people would vote for the other guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, then the people that voted for the other guy cannot imagine how those people would vote for that guy. In fact, I think most people who voted in the election, they weren't voting for their guy. They were voting against the other guy. And they can't understand, how could you vote for that guy? And it's like they don't understand that other people think differently. And that's my point, is that I know what you think, and I know why you think what you think. And it is the correct opinion that you have. But it doesn't matter. Because people think this. And when it becomes a thing, it becomes a thing. And I go back to the Todd Downing stuff, where TD asks Vrabel the other day about the fans who want to fire Todd Downing. There is not one media member in Nashville who is actively campaigning for Todd Downing to be fired, and that includes me, who always campaigns for these people to get fired.
That's true.
So I'm telling you, like, this is going to be a thing, even though it's ridiculous. If they lose to start 0-3, just like the first two callers who unprovoked talked about playing Malik Willis, it's going to happen.
But
it
also,
drives me crazy.
Hasn't this been a thing since he got drafted?
Yes.
Before the season even started, in the middle of the summer, there were Malik Willis is going to be the starting quarterback in Tennessee conversations.
I know.
On First Take, on Get Up, on Fox Sports, and all of these national outlets. So why is this any different?
Because they're losing. You know what I mean?
But this isn't a new conversation.
It is, though, because now it's like, get him out now. It's like, get him out. Hey, before Thanksgiving, get him out. They're terrible. They stink. Season's over. Get him out. Even though that's not reality. And the idea of, well, those are just people that are talking and that's not going to seep its way back in there. They have phones. They do not sequester the players. They have phones. They have wives. They have families. Those families have TVs. Like, this is what happened. They listen to this show. I know what it looks like when Kyle Turris looks you up and down and stares into your soul because he clearly doesn't like you. And in that case, me. I know what that's like. So I'm telling you, like, as much as we say that, you know, that's the QAnon version of Titan fans, I am telling you that, like, people think this and that it's only going to get louder if they don't start winning, no matter how culpable Tannehill is or is not for the winning. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. And I want to ask Caroline a question that really has been inside my heart all day. Joe, I know what he thinks. We'll get to this on the other side. Plus, what Tony Kornheiser had to say about the Titans as well. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106 through the game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
What I would tell people is that you don't have to be in pain anymore.
Meet Dr. Justin Garzone, Medical Director at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in using advanced regenerative medicine to give people lasting relief from chronic joint pain.
What's exciting is that I get to see patients with our treatments actually get better.
Have you discovered regenerative medicine? It's an all-natural way to use the power of your own body to restore and repair damaged tissue.
We're using things that are already in your body, and we're simply concentrating them and then put it in an area of your body that you're having the pain so that your body can start the regenerative process, the healing process.
For pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulders, don't assume the old treatments are the only treatments. Avoid drugs and surgery and get lasting relief. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Now's the time to make a message known. All working-class Tennesseans vote no on Amendment 1 this voting season. Right to work does not belong in the state constitution. Hardworking families deserve to have their needs addressed in today's economy. Visit TennesseeWorkerAlliance.org, paid for by the Nashville Building Trades.
Are you looking for Tennessee grown and crafted THC, CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9 products? Then float on over to ounceofhope.com. On top of the widest selection of luxury edibles and smokables, their customer service team is high quality and prepared to help select the right cannabis product for your needs. Their knowledgeable team will have you flying high with a smile. That's ounceofhope.com, made locally in Memphis. Ounce of Hope is Memphis Flyers' best cannabis shop 2 years in a row. Legal THC delivered to your door. Ounceofhope.com.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
I'm going to just get rid of Tennessee very quickly. Tennessee at the moment is nothing, absolutely nothing. Derrick Henry, a great runner, had 25 yards and 13 carries last night. That's less than 2 yards a carry. Ryan Tannehill had 2 interceptions and passed for a total of 117 yards. If those two don't give you anything, then you are nothing. Right now, Tennessee is Indianapolis. These are teams with false and inflated expectations.
Tony Kornheiser bringing the boom on the Titans. Again, the national media, and there he was. You know, if Tannehill doesn't do more, that's not how this team wins, guys. That's not what happens. But again, I think the discussion is being had nationally. How long until Malik Willis? And Joe yesterday was very defiant, and this morning very defiant that it is not a thing. That if Vrabel puts Malik Willis in the third quarter, and I can't get over this. I don't know a single coach in the NFL who pulls a quarterback in the third quarter.
But how many games are that big of a score difference? How many games in the NFL are 41-7?
It happens.
I know.
I
Not
mean,
often.
I went back, and you can back me up on this. This morning, I was looking back at when Vrabel pulls his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They had a 30-point lead on the Bills 2 years ago, and Tannehill was throwing the ball at the 2-minute warning.
But did they have a first-year quarterback that needed experience and needed to develop?
They had Logan Woodside, who had never taken a real snap in the NFL, as the backup.
But did they draft Logan Woodside in the third round?
No, but it doesn't matter when you draft the guy.
Yes, it does.
I don't think it does in this case, because at this point, Malik needs development, because if Tannehill breaks his leg, Malik goes in there, right?
Yes.
And in 2020, if Tannehill breaks his leg, Logan goes in there. And it was even more likely that you would have to use Logan at some point, because if Tannehill gets COVID, then Logan has to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're up 35-14 or whatever on the Bills. That is the perfect time to put Logan in the game. They're running the ball with Jeremy McNichols, and they're throwing the ball with Tannehill at the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, I would have pulled Tannehill.
And again, I don't remember the exact circumstances, but he didn't pull Mariota that early. Like there was none of them.
That doesn't mean that was the right move.
To not pull him?
Yeah.
I just know these guys do not like being pulled. Even Tannehill was asked like a question by David Beauclair.
Well, of course they don't like being pulled.
I know, but the reason they don't like being pulled is that Mike Robinson.
Do they also like
David
getting
Carr,
sacked and getting destroyed? Because that's what was happening to Ryan Tannehill.
Again, remember what David Carr said right there? And David Carr got killed. I mean, David Carr, I think, could have been an okay quarterback, but those Texan lines were so bad that it just ate him alive. And you heard the clip we played in the last segment where David Carr was like, put Malik in for some plays. And Mike Robinson, who also played, said, if they put the backup quarterback in there and he makes a good play, I know what that's going to be like. So let's just do it. Let's just go to this mythical island because Malik kept this from being a story by stinking because he stunk. Fumbled the ball, almost threw an interception, all of this stuff. Let's just play the mythical what-if game. Let's say Malik scores a touchdown on Monday night.
Quarterback change for the Titans. You saw that conversation, Mike Vrabel and Ryan Tannehill, and he was saying, hey, you know what? We'll get him next week. Here's Malik Willis and trying to escape and run for it, and he's got it and more. Down the sideline. Will they give it to him? They will. Touchdown. And just like that.
Okay. Malik just scored a touchdown in there for Tannehill.
Malik.
Now what do you think happens on Monday? Because you said you said yesterday, you and Joe both said that you believe that this would not have been a story.
No.
That our phone lines would not have been popping about people saying put Malik in the game. Malik should be in there instead of Tannehill.
Well, people can think whatever they want. People think crazy things all the time. But that doesn't mean that there's a quarterback controversy.
Well, how do you think quarterback controversies happen?
Whenever there is a legitimate competition for the quarterback position.
I think quarterback controversies happen when the fans demand that they want to change at the quarterback position.
Who cares what the fans think?
I mean, Ryan Tannehill was the starting quarterback in Miami. They played the Titans, and the Titans just smoked them. And all of a sudden, the fans start chanting, "We want more. We want more. We want more." That is a story. That is a controversy.
Nobody is going to be chanting for Malik Willis.
Nobody. If he runs that ball into the end zone on Monday night, we're on the mythical island where Malik just came in the game and just ran a ball into the end zone for a touchdown. You heard Steve Levy call it.
If Tannehill is just absolutely god-awful, like 3-4 picks in a game, dumb bonehead decisions, actually hurting the team and costing the team games, sure, there's probably going to be people calling for Malik.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was Tannehill god-awful on Monday night?
No.
Second caller today, what'd he say?
That Tannehill was god-awful.
Time to put Malik in there. Nick Wright, what'd he say? Put Malik in there by Thanksgiving.
I'm not doubting that they're saying that.
David Carr saying, hey,
but I'm doubting their sanity for thinking that.
Most of the things that are thought in this country are not sane people thinking them.
Okay.
But that becomes a controversy. When they let's say that they go out there.
If Malik Willis scores a touchdown on Monday night, inside that building, I don't think they're thinking, maybe we should rethink who's our starting quarterback.
Well,
and at the end of the day, isn't that the only thing that matters?
Do you think there's a controversy about Todd Downing right now?
A controversy?
Do you think it's a story? It's an issue?
It's a story,
yes. You think it's being discussed inside that building?
No.
Not discussed like, hey, do you think we should fire Todd? But do you think it's being discussed like, hey, man, did you see how much they're killing Coach Downing? Or, hey, Todd, keep your head up, bud. Don't worry about it. Or, hey.
Maybe, but that doesn't mean that they're going to make a change at offensive coordinator. And that's really the only thing that matters.
And I'm telling you that the way that public pressure works, I watched the Titans sign Kerry Collins right before the start of the season because Vince Young was not ready to play. And the Titans started off like 0-5 or 0-6 or something like that. And Bud Adams said, put him in. And the fan reaction was, put Vince in the game. And the fans play a bigger role in this than we give them credit for.
The court of public opinion is incredibly influential. It's incredibly strong. But in this instance, with Tannehill and Malik, I don't think that a court of public opinion can be strong enough to make a legitimate change or a legitimate impact at the quarterback position.
Tannehill's quarterback rating was 32.7 on Monday night.
And I still don't think Tannehill was the problem.
As much of the context. I'm not asking you what you think. I know what you think, and it's also what I think. But I'm talking about just how these things happen. I see them become things. Like, I've seen this too many times where it's, first of all, the backup quarterback is always the most popular guy in town on a losing team. Secondly, the fans really, just like they didn't like Downing because they blamed him for last year, they still hold the Cincinnati game and what could have been last year against Tannehill. And while I know Malik's not ready to play, and you know Malik's not ready to play, if Malik had showed them a glimmer of being ready to play by what we just played, of him running that ball into the end zone, we would have been flooded with people that would have said, put Malik in. Hey, he's our future. Let him learn on the job. I've seen it so many times.
Well, enjoy that. Enjoy that, fans. Let's say you get your wish, fans who call in and say, we want Malik.
Oh, you're
put Malik
going to
Willis in. Yeah, good luck. Enjoy that. Because if you're mad now, you're going to be even more mad when you're 4-13.
And you know what they're going to say to you with that? We're not winning with Tannehill anyways.
In 2 games.
That's what. Are they not saying that?
No, they are saying that. I'm not doubting what they're saying.
And it becomes a thing. You know, owners here boos. They're 0-2 right now. If they go out there against the Raiders and they go 3-0, or, you know, the Raiders score a touchdown and it's 7-0, or it's 14-0 Raiders at halftime, and the Titans get the ball to start the second half and they don't, you're going to hear all those boos. The owner hears them. The general manager hears them. The coach hears them. They all hear them. I didn't think, and this is a Nashville media thing, that we'll get to on the other side, and we'll get to your phone, 615-737-1025. Because there is one specific Nashville media thing that I do believe that I'm a part of. I'm not throwing stones on other people. I'm a part of this. So we'll get to that next on your phone. Stillman & Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
It's coming. A beast is about to awaken. After a long off-season, Smashville is alive. The Nashville Predators have tweaked their roster and are ready to chase Lord Stanley's Cup once again.
The backhander, he scores!
Keep it locked to Smashville's best training camp coverage on your home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
I'm a natural born killer.
Don't miss Highly Suspect, the Midnight Demon Club Tour with Article Sound System this Friday at Ryman Auditorium. Ryman Auditorium, Friday night. Tickets on sale now at Ryman.com. Don't miss Highly Suspect, live in concert Friday.
Football is back, and so are the deals at Electronic Express. Get an LG 75-inch 4K TV for only $699, or a Samsung laundry pair for $549 each. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an HP Pavilion touchscreen laptop for just $649, or a Klipsch soundbar system for $199. Shop in-store or online and get up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey everybody, Big Joe here for Apple Collision Centers. And you know I'm always on the go, but the distraction that an automobile accident causes could even slow my pace down to a stop. But my friend and CEO of Apple Collision Centers, Stan Harrison, has a plan to get you and I back on the road and fast.
We at Apple Collision Centers know you deserve the best quality service. We always recommend original equipment parts, and we use only the best Sherwin-Williams finishes. 3 convenient locations: Hendersonville, Gallatin, and Oak Hickory. And you can always visit us online for your estimate needs at applecollisioncenters.com.
We're Saia LTL Freight. For nearly a century, our team has been committed to driving business forward. From Lady Liberty to the Golden Gate, Superstore to Corner Store. We go that extra mile, expanding our team to better serve you. So trust that when you partner with Saia, we take every delivery personally. Visit Saia.com for all your shipping needs. That's SAIA.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Your home for Hit City is 94.9 The Fan.
Your Nashville Sounds continue a 6-game series tonight at the Louisville Bats. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win. Pre-game at 5:20.
On your home for Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, Nashville, it's Mike Greenberg, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Just because you don't think it's a thing doesn't mean it's not a thing. Just because I don't think something's a thing doesn't mean it's not a thing.
Yeah, a thing. But what is a thing? Jared, every single talk show already had the stupid Malik Willis discussion. He had like 3 good highlights in a preseason game, and people are like, oh, is he going to take his job? Great. So Pat McAfee joined the chorus. Who cares? A thing, to me, is a thing that affects the team. I mean, again, people can talk about whatever they want. The vast 90% majority of Titans fans know it's not a thing. The people in the building know it's not a thing. So how is it a thing, Jared?
Okay, there you go. That was Joe this morning. He does not believe. He says 95%. Yesterday it was 9 people on Twitter. Now it's 95% of Titans fans.
Yes.
Okay, on the Malik Willis, that had Malik Willis played well against Buffalo, which he did not, had he played well against Buffalo, this could have been a controversy. Which, again, this is such a stupid argument. But one thing that
This is such a stupid argument.
The one thing I do want to say about the Nashville media, and I am included in this, sometimes we get too gullible locally. I can remember it like it was yesterday when Ken Wisenhunt, it was so bad. You think it's bad now. When Ken Wisenhunt was the coach, it felt like there was no escape. Like there was no way out of this. And I can hear it like yesterday, Mark Howard saying, if you think that this organization is going to fire a coach with 3.5 years left on their contract, you don't know this organization. And I was like, everybody was repeating that. And I was like, darn. And then they announced that they fired Ken Wisenhunt, and I was like, yay! The Marcus Tannehill thing. We didn't think there was any chance Marcus could lose his job. And then he did. The A.J. Brown trade. Remember? Remember us during the A.J. trade?
See that happening.
But remember us? We were like, why is the national media keep talking about the Titans trading A.J.? They've already said 100 times they're not going to trade A.J. Vrabel said as long as he's the coach, they're not going to trade A.J. Robinson says he doesn't foresee them trading A.J. The guy who wrote about it first, Rich Cimini, went on the midday show and said, oh, it's just fodder or whatever. And it's like, you're the one who said it. And it's like, yet it won't go away. The national media kept talking about it. I'm like, why do you keep talking about trading A.J. Brown?
And then he got traded.
So I'm just saying, for all of us out there,
I don't think A.J. Brown got traded because the national media kept talking about it. It made sense for the Titans to trade A.J., whether you agree with the move or not at the time or now. It made sense.
I'm just saying, nobody here thought it was going to happen.
Because they said it wasn't.
But nobody thought it.
We talked about it. Before any of the rumors, before they had said no,
we talked about it every day.
We talked about it.
But that's because we talk about everything every day. But more importantly...
But I'm not saying this was just some strange grandeur idea that the national media cooked up out of nowhere.
That's exactly what happened. Remember?
No, it is
yes,
not.
Rich Cimini wrote that thing, and I was like, where did all this AJ getting traded stuff come from? And it was like, oh, ESPN.com said the Jets would be interested in AJ Brown or DK Metcalf. The Midday Show then had that guy on there, and they were like, what? Why? Where did you come up with this? And Rich
Because
Cimini,
the Jets said they would be interested.
And Rich Cimini said, well, I was just looking around at the teams that had cap space or didn't have cap space and would have to sign their receivers, and those two were the ones that came up, even though cap space isn't real, it doesn't matter. But that was what he said. And then the Titans dismissed it, and Jim Wyatt wrote a whole article about it, and we dismissed it. And then we asked him about it, and it kept coming up, and we kept talking about it. We kept getting people telling us, why are you talking about this? It's not going to happen. And we knew it wasn't going to happen. Did you know it wasn't going to happen?
Well, they said it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, but we know not to trust them. And we knew that then, too.
Yeah, but when both the general manager and the coach say he is not going to be traded, I didn't think about it anymore from there.
Oh, when I asked Robinson if they were going to trade him, and he said, I don't foresee it. Corey Curtis, right after the press conference,
same thing. David Boyle as
Corey
for right now.
Yeah, Corey went right up to me right after the press conference. It's like
foresee.
You know, I could hear the asterisk that Corey was putting on the.
I don't remember. Did we continue to talk about it after they stopped talking about it, or after they kind of shut it down?
Oh yeah, I remember being like, if you're going to do this, it has to be done by Thursday.
But it made sense. It wasn't something that just came out of nowhere, and they thought, you know what, national media, good idea.
But everybody kept saying, no, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen.
They didn't fire him because the national media said they should fire him.
I don't know why they fired him. I don't know why they traded him. And they'll never tell us.
No, but it makes sense.
Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Mike is up next on Malik. Thank you for calling. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, I'm not for anyone talking about starting Malik Willis outside of the fact if we lose both Colts games and the first one to the Texans.
Okay.
Then you're looking at maybe 1-7. I think you have to see what you have in Malik because we could be in a position to draft one.
So what if Tannehill's playing the same way he's playing now, which is not bad?
If he's not playing bad, I still think if you're 1-7, you have to see if Malik has anything to him. Because if you're in a position for a top 3 or 4 pick, you have to look at those quarterbacks.
Thank you for your call, Mike.
But if the Titans aren't winning games and Tannehill isn't the problem, why will putting in Malik make any difference or make it any better? Then you know the quarterback's not the problem.
Yeah, what if you use that 3rd overall pick, say Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud go off the board 1-2.
Get yourself a left tackle.
And then all of a sudden, the next Aaron Donald is sitting there with the 3rd overall pick, the next Lawrence Taylor.
You don't have to draft a quarterback with a top 5 pick.
And then you can, at that point, have Tannehill be your quarterback.
Isn't it kind of sad that we are now talking about top 5 pick?
Yeah, but it's not real.
I know it's not real, but it is a little bit depressing. But yeah, I mean,
and it's easy to say it right now. Again, where Vrabel, I'm a process guy. I'm more mad about how they beat the Colts last year when Carson Wentz couldn't walk than I was how they lost to the Bills on Monday night. I am doing it the right way is the way. Vrabel pulled the quarterback in the 3rd quarter, which is unheard of in the National Football League. Tannehill he even said yesterday when he was asked a question, not about being pulled or not about, just about, does your body feel more comfortable? Tannehill was like, I don't even like getting taken out. It was.
Well, yeah, I don't blame him.
And so.
I wouldn't want to be taken out either.
But that's not, the reason this isn't a deal right now is because Malik sucked when he went in the game. What I saw out of Malik on Monday night, if that's all we get to see out of Malik and then they have to make a decision on it, which is not what they're making a decision off of. Mm-hmm. But if that's what we saw out of Malik, woof. Because that was,
looks like you would be going down the same.
There's a lot. Ellie's up next. Thank you for calling. What's up, Ellie?
I think it would be more likely we say, we want Tim Kelly. We want Tim Kelly. I don't know how the offense has confidence in Downing. I blame him for that loss against Cincinnati. I blame him for that loss against the Giants. How do you have Derrick Henry on 3rd down do a shotgun in your own line? And,
you don't blame the kicker for the loss to the Giants?
Yeah, I blame Downing for the loss to the Giants. Yes, 100%, because we shouldn't have been in that position. We should have been blown them out. We needed just one more touchdown. They would have folded like nothing. We were up 17-0, and then we come out of the third quarter 3 now, playing like crap. Go conservative and dig in the hole, thinking that we gave them life when we shouldn't have given them life. I mean, and that third down play, and that play with Derrick Henry being on the Wildcat aspect of things in their own zone, not even practicing at all. I mean, we should have had a fullback more. We should have played more shotgun against Buffalo. I mean, the game plan was crap, even though Buffalo was going to pay us back and hit us from the last couple of years when we beat them barely. I mean, Kelly should be the offense coordinator. Downing should not be calling any more plays. And I blame him for what's going on, and we have to have this insight. Tannehill's fine. I mean, we just have to change things up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Do you agree with a single thing that he just said?
No.
I don't either. And I like Ellie. I like him a lot. I don't agree with a single thing he just said. Which, by the way, while we're on the topic of Tim Kelly, I have something I have to get off my chest, directed at Corey Curtis. Which was today they were talking about Josh Gordon, and Corey was losing his mind about this idea that Josh Gordon's going to give the Titans anything.
You disagree with that?
No, I agree with that. But then it was like, if you want to stretch the field, go get Will Fuller. And I'm like, guys, Mike Vrabel was a coach on the Texans when Will Fuller was on the team. And the Titans have never shown any interest in Will Fuller. Tim Kelly was the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans, and they have shown no interest in Will Fuller.
Will Fuller never plays.
Don't you think it's pretty obvious that they don't
want Will Fuller
and that they know him better than we do?
Quit collecting wide receivers who are either always hurt or never available for some other reason.
That's what everybody likes.
Quit it.
That's what everybody likes. Yeah. I mean,
Will Fuller.
I'm just saying. I don't care.
Adrian Peterson.
None
of that.
I do not care. I know this is going to sound callous. I do not care about Downing right now. I mean, I don't think he's a great play caller, but I don't think play calling is why you're 0-2.
But I don't disagree with Ellie that there were some play calls in the Giants game that were incredibly questionable.
Well, he wants to put the fullback in there. The fullback sucks. He's terrible.
I mean, the Wildcat at 4th and 1.
Yeah.
The sweep with Chig on 4th and 1. I mean, those were all questionable things.
I mean, to show you
and
how
I do think that Downing is partly culpable for that Giants loss.
To show you how much of a process person I am more than a results person, I thought the 4th and 1 run with Derrick Henry was stupid, and they got lucky. To go into the shotgun, hand it off. The hole that
shotgun
Derrick,
at 4th and 1 is stupid.
The hole Derrick was supposed to run to was clogged. He just bounced it to the next gap. Well, that may not always happen. And so I don't like that, but, it worked for them. So everybody was happy for 5 minutes, and then they went back to hating Todd Downing. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, Stillman and Company, right here, 1025-1063, the game. Let me tell everybody out there, as we are just having a wonderful time today, to join us for the pregame show. Me, D. Mace, Chris Sanders, live from 9:30 to 11:30 prior to the Titans and the Raiders at Sonny's Patio and Pub Refuge, located at 1322 6th Avenue North here in Nashville. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, and Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5. Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis, finally done with record heat after back-to-back days of breaking high temperature records today. The first day of fall and feeling like it. Lower 80s and lower humidity into the afternoon. A few clouds on and off, but relatively a nice day.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
The Equal Rights Amendment, which reads in part, equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex, was proposed by the 92nd Congress on March 22, 1972, but was not ratified because not enough states approved it. The main reason that states did not approve it was that the process was already in practice. This announcement was provided by the Cumberland Chapter, National Society Daughters of the American Revolution.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Football is finally here, and if you're out at Nissan Stadium for a tailgate, catching kickoff at your favorite bar, or just curled up on the couch, be sure you're sipping on a Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Hey, what's up? It's Chase McKay. By now, you all got to know how much I love Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Game days can get pretty busy. I'm always sure to unwind with a chilled Screwball. There's nothing like it. Be sure to make Screwball your official drink of choice this season, just like me, the suit. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
We gather together in communities across the nation to remember and honor, to celebrate and support, to light the night. We are LLS, and when we walk, cancer runs. Find your local event at lightthenight.org.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 1025 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Chase McCabe.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Is there some noticeable physical benefit to having played one fewer quarter on a short week like this?
Yeah, it's all. I mean, you never want to come out of the game, but body feels great. I think our guys feel really good on the whole. Obviously some guys are dealing with some things, but on the whole, our guys feel really good and excited to go out and get the ball rolling in the right direction this week.
So, do you feel good that you came out early? Whoa, I want everybody to know.
I don't want to come out.
I do not want to come out of the game early anymore. I do not want Malik to take any more snaps that belong to me. I don't even care if we're up 100. I don't want to come out of the game. Just throwing that out there. Like the
I
Brock
wouldn't want to come out either.
Like the Brock Osweiler going to get his helmet and Peyton running onto the field.
Yeah, and he's like, what?
He was not happy about that.
No.
What do we have the text line?
One texter texts into the text line and says it's a thing because if things don't get better, it becomes a real ongoing conversation topic. The Steelers are 1-1, and people are already talking about starting Kenny Pickett.
I will say this: if the Titans lose on Sunday, regardless of if it's Tannehill's fault or not,
People are going to call for Malik.
They're going to be talking about Malik.
But it doesn't make any sense to ask for that unless it's Tannehill absolutely blowing it up, and he's the reason why the Titans lose to the Raiders.
Well, we have Nick Wright, Pat McAfee, and David Carr all, discussing at some level, advocating for the Titans to play Malik Willis. Those voices are only going to be more if the Titans lose. Because then it's like, okay, well, now Randy Moss said on the ESPN pregame and Terry Bradshaw said on Fox. And, I hate to say it, if Terry Bradshaw says the Titans should play Malik Willis, that is a 2 o'clock segment for us and probably carries 3 hours out of a 4-hour show.
For sure. And also in Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick. So fans want to see Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, Trubisky's never been to the Pro Bowl for the Steelers. Tannehill has been to the Pro Bowl for the Titans.
And Trubisky has zero skin on the wall in Pittsburgh.
I do believe, though, that Trubisky went to a Pro Bowl in Chicago.
He's probably been to one.
It
right?
wouldn't make any sense, but I want to say it was one of those years where, like, nobody wanted to go to the Pro Bowl.
Like when Mac Jones.
He did make it to the Pro Bowl.
All right.
He made it his second year. They were 11-3 in Chicago. That was the double doink where they missed the field goal against the Eagles. 3,200 yards, 24-12. He made it to the Pro Bowl. Did not even have a 100 quarterback rating, but he made it to the Pro Bowl.
All right.
I would love to know.
Let's go, Mitch.
He has 2 career awards. Mitch Trubisky does. He made it to the Pro Bowl in 2018, and he's the 2021 MVP.
Not valuable player.
No, that is the Nick most valuable player in the Nickelodeon. In the Nickelodeon game.
At the Kids' Choice Awards when he gets slimed.
Yeah, I don't think it's the Kids' Choice Awards, though. I think they just give
It's
it to him
something
at
along those lines.
that one wild card game.
Oh, that was the Bears-Saints game?
Yep, he was the MVP.
Yes, I did watch that game.
Mark's up next on Todd Downing. Thank you for calling. What's up, Mark?
Hey, I just wanted to say, I think Todd Downing's play calling has been very predictable.
Give me an example.
I know you guys, I know the 2nd and 10 play you've been talking about where they ran and it was blown up because Nate Davis missed a block. But I looked at my wife and said, this is going to be a run left based off personnel from the beginning. I think he has been so predictable, and I just think, defensive coordinators have to know what he's saying. If I sit at home and know what he's saying, I think they know what he's going to do. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I appreciate your call, Mark. I guess maybe I feel the need to defend Todd Downing from this because the play where Nate Davis whiffed, that was a counter, and he was cutting it up, and Derek would have had a 20-yard gain. It would have been basically Derek versus Micah Hyde for the end zone. And Nate Davis whiffed on the block, and Russo tackled Henry in the backfield. Now, that may not be the play that he's talking about when he talked about Nate Davis whiffing, but that is the play I'm referencing that Nate Davis whiffed. Couple of thoughts here. Number one, when you say that you can predict the play on your couch, I want you to know, one, running teams are supposed to be predictable. It's supposed to be predictable that Walter Payton is going to get the ball because that's what running teams do.
And also, you want Derrick Henry to get the ball.
Number two, you have a 50-50 chance of being right if you're sitting on your couch saying, oh, is it going to be a run or a pass? I mean, it's pretty simple, right?
And also, to his point, based off of personnel, you can probably tell if it's going to be a run or a pass.
Okay, and on 3rd and 13, you know what play it's going to be. So when
there's
people
a
say
difference
that,
between sitting on your couch and saying, run, whenever you see Derrick Henry on the field. There's a difference between that and also running the ball on 1st and 10 all but one times. Those are two different things.
You do realize, though, that for the most part, these coaches already know what's going to happen. Those coaches know what's – you've seen Tony Romo call a game.
Yes.
And Tony's like, oh, yeah, Brady's got Gronk here singled up, and if this guy comes over here, then Brady's going to, those guys know. And I think I take it personally when it comes to the coordinator because I think you guys are marginalizing, what these guys do just because you're unhappy that they're not scoring enough touchdowns. This is my feeling of it. I'm maybe projecting my feelings of, people all the time say things like, I could host your radio show. I'm like, could you?
Mm-hmm.
Really, could you?
No.
And so that is something
Everybody
that
wants to, though.
Everybody
wants to play radio.
Thinks they know what they can do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, here's a microphone, 4 hours, go. And it's a lot harder than most people, I assume, think it is. But I got to be honest with you on the Downing front, I just don't think he's done anything egregious enough to deserve the level of venom that he has received. And I
think a lot of people went into this season with preconceived notions about Todd Downing, and he's an easy person to blame it on when you're 0-2.
They don't have a tackle. They played a team, and I'm not saying that to you. I'm just saying that, in general. They played a team that sacked a quarterback 7 times in week 1 with no starting NFL offensive tackles. No starting tackles. And they played the team that sacked the champions 7 times. I mean, it's a miracle that Tannehill didn't get sacked 15 times on Monday night.
I mean, and also, let's say Tannehill goes out against the Giants and throws 3 picks. Nobody would be talking about Todd Downing. It would you don't think so?
I think they hate it.
I think it would all be on Tannehill because everyone also went into the season with preconceived notions about Tannehill. But he didn't do anything egregious, not in week 1, not in week 2, to say, oh, they're losing because of Tannehill. So Todd Downing is the other guy that everyone is already went into the season down on. Then you can say, okay, it's Downing.
I still wonder about that quote-unquote miscommunication between Tannehill and Westbrook-Ikhine.
Yeah.
When he was like, it was a miscommunication, but Tannehill threw the ball exactly to where Westbrook-Ikhine was running. So it's like, was it?
Well, you can call anything a miscommunication.
Oh, that's what they do in training camp.
Yeah, it doesn't excuse the
training
pick.
camp. It's like, oh, that was a miscommunication.
The refs don't say, hey, call it back.
Practice.
It wasn't a pick because it was a miscommunication.
I was like that crybaby bull crap when they stunk in the 2-minute drill against Arizona. And I was like, well, they did things that we didn't prepare for. I don't care.
Well, duh. Of course they are. That's their job to do something that you're not prepared for.
I do not care about that.
Get prepared.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones. Ryan Tannehill said something about the team that I believe is a complete 180 from the fans and how the fans feel. We'll get to that next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. They take great care of my home, and I promise you that they can do the exact same for you. I was talking to somebody yesterday, somebody with my homeowner's insurance, who was like, we got to come out and do an assessment. And I was like, hey, just an FYI, Hiller might be here because they're coming for the tune-up that I get with being a member of the Happy Hiller Club. And she was like, oh, yes, I'm so glad that that's the case because apparently that's a big deal for homeowners insurance. So, woo! And I love Hiller, and you will too. They got great deals like a free Yeti Tundra cooler with the purchase of a new tankless water heater, a free Traegerwood pellet grill with the purchase of a new whole home generator, and a free Yeti Tundra cooler with the purchase of a full home septic system. Hiller has also got a great HVAC promotions for you, like 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on select new HVAC systems. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy OB or services free guarantee. And again, I know this because I use Hiller. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
You love the game.
The door's on the board. Strike three, sounds win.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by Houston Sarah.
The game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
See the latest from Viraggio, handcrafted on Fifth Avenue in New York by true artisans with unmatched attention to detail and the highest quality standards. Viraggio is the only ring that can be customized for every woman's specific desires. Come explore the entire Viraggio collection at Genesis.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
What's up, Nashville? It's Michelle Knezvik, and I am telling you all to root for safeties this season with your friends at Superbook Sports. If you bet with Superbook this football season, they will give you a $50 bonus. Yes, a $50 bonus if a safety is scored on Sunday. From a punter running out of the end zone to a QB sack worth 2 points, root for the chaos. I know I will be, and win money with Superbook this fall. Download the Superbook Tennessee app right now and start rooting for two with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Vanderbilt fans, your flagship home for the broadcast of football and men's basketball is 93.3 Classic Hits. For the weekly Commodore Hour show featuring head coach Clark Lee, tune in to 94.9 The Fan on Monday nights at 6 p.m.
Bring Me the Horizon, live in concert this Wednesday night, Nashville Municipal Auditorium. With special guests, Knocked Loose, Grandson, and Sick Brain. Buy tickets now at livenation.com. Bring Me the Horizon Live. Welcomed by 1029 The Buzz. The latest EP, Post-Human Survival Horror, out now.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So, I don't believe in pep rallies, but I know they exist.
What is your beef with pep rallies?
Well, I just don't. I don't need there to be like a,
They're fun.
Please welcome your third-year letter-winning quarterback, Johnny Joseph.
Woo!
Like,
Go Johnny!
Guys, I want to make Dawson County proud this week as we go out there against Mud City. And we're just so excited for tonight's game. And God willing, we'll be, I just don't do it for you.
It's fun.
But if there ever was a need for a Titan pep rally, it might be now because the fans are down. Fair?
Downing.
They are down on this football team. They are down on the general manager.
They're down.
They are down on the coach. They are out on the offensive coordinator. They are down. And I think it's a little premature. I think it's a little wild and crazy and everything else. It's been 2 games. They lost the first game because they missed a field goal. They lost the second game because they weren't as good. Now, I'm worried about Bud Dupree not playing on Sunday, but Ryan Tannehill was asked about all the negativity outside the team. And here's what he said.
Probably the last time there was this much external doubt about where the team stood was when you took over as the starter. What makes you believe that this group can have a rebound in the success that you had a few years ago in the same spot?
Yeah, there's a lot of belief within our locker room, and I think that's where it all starts is we know what we're capable of. We haven't put that on the field so far, but we have the guys we need and the belief that we need to go out and do it. Just a matter of doing it. You can't talk about it, you can't think about it anymore. It's a matter of going out and making it come to life on Sunday.
Okay, so they feel the exact opposite as the fans do. Like the fans do not believe they have the guys in the locker room to get it done. Fair?
Correct.
Okay.
But that's also the job of the fans and the job of the team. The job of the fans is to be skeptical. The job of the team is to believe in themselves.
Oh, fans are not skeptical normally.
Well,
this show is skeptical.
When you're 0-2, the fans have every right to be mad.
Yeah. It's the fans' job to feel however they want to feel.
Fans can do whatever they want their fans.
And it is the team's job to believe that they can win.
Yes.
2 thoughts on this.
Okay.
1, does it matter that they believe? Like, does it actually matter? Do they have the players in that locker room to turn it around? Because the national media is saying no. Tony Kornheiser is saying, I forget exactly the right word. He said they were done or whatever it was. Tony Kornheiser said that they suck, basically. Mm-hmm. And the national media, no. All these power rankings, they're like 24th. So they're saying no. The fans about Vrabel and Downing and Robinson and the text line and everything, they're saying no. And even me, deep down inside, no right tackle, maybe no left tackle, no outside backer, maybe no other outside backer, no dependable receiver, no dependable tight end. I'm worried about the undersized guard. I got a DT I like, I got a safety I like, and I got a running back I like. And I hate my special teams. So that's the first part. 1, doesn't matter. 2, they can have all the belief they want right now in the locker room. If they go to 0-3, you think that belief stays?
It's definitely going to start dissipating. But to your first point about the national media doesn't think that they have the team. The national media doesn't believe in them.
Which they never do and they never have.
The national media is also talking about how the Eagles are the team to beat in the NFC.
And they might be.
They might be. But after 2 weeks, I don't think that's fair to say. Maybe the Eagles are, the greatest show on turf. I'm not willing to say that.
Let me tell you.
The national media also thinks that the Dallas Cowboys are a contender for the Super Bowl every year. The national media says a whole heck of a lot of things that I don't really think matter.
Let me interject one quick thing into that.
Please.
If the Titans do stink this year and the Eagles are the best team in the NFL, we will pound the crap out of that topic because that will
100%.
be a topic around here.
Oh, absolutely.
About the Eagles being the best team in the league and the Titans stinking it up will 100% be a problem.
For one reason and one reason
of course.
only. But so that's my point about the national media is they can say whatever they want. But my next point about the belief, yes, it matters because they still have to go out there and beat the bad teams. And you think if they are so down bad and they don't believe in themselves and every player in that locker room is just so sick and tired of that team and just wants the season to get over with, you think you're going to beat the bad teams? No, you're not.
But it doesn't matter if you're not good enough.
Sometimes belief isn't enough. Sometimes you need more than belief. Sometimes you need it right to happen.
Well, you know who believes in themselves all the time?
But I also think that Titans have a
Lollipop
better
in
team.
Indianapolis thinks that they are always right there. After they got ramrodded by Jacksonville, he was like, we're not that far away. It's like, dude, did you watch the game, Frank?
And maybe it doesn't matter, but I'm not going to say that yet. Because if you say belief in the team doesn't matter, then you were pretty much saying this team's done, this team's bad, this team has no shot whatsoever to make the playoffs, to make any sort of run, and I'm not there yet. So I'm still going to say that the belief matters. If they're 2-8, shove your belief where the sun don't shine.
I mean, if they lose Sunday, like I don't want to, it's easy to say if they're 2-8. That's
obvious.
0-3
isn't great.
I mean, if they lose Sunday, I have a hard time getting on board if they lose Sunday.
If they lose Sunday, I still think they could win the division.
I have a hard time with that.
Why?
Because 0-3 is horrible.
0-3 is horrible.
I mean, 0-3.
But so are the Texans.
I know, but I have to imagine that one of these teams is not going to be horrible. And this is how teams get better throughout the course of the year. It's like we kept saying, the last month before the season started, it was, okay, who's going to be that team this year? And I think what often happens is some team gets out to a really quick start. And in the case of Jacksonville, I mean, I don't know who they play, but I think they play the Chargers this weekend maybe. So
I don't know.
Justin Herbert's got bum ribs. They go beat the Chargers. Now all of a sudden Jacksonville believes. And now they're, 2-1.
Did you have the Chargers this week?
Yeah, so all it takes is one of those kind of wins. They beat the Chargers, and now it's like, oh, baby. Is that game in Jacksonville?
It's in L.A.
That's going to be really hard for them.
It's really tough for Jacksonville.
But then again, Justin Herbert's got bad ribs. But it's just one of those games. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the third Titans game when they were the Titans in 99. The Titans had beaten the Bengals by 1 point. They were terrible. It was the same as the Giants game. They got to a big lead. Bengals came back. Titans kicked a field goal right at the end. They won 36-35. Second game, they smoked an expansion Browns team. Not a lot to take away from that. Third game at Jacksonville, who had been really good and was a Super Bowl contender, and the Titans stole one in Jacksonville. A Samari roll interception at the end of the game, and they stole one in Jacksonville, and that was when it was like, the Titans are for real. That's all Jacksonville needs. And it's still early, but 0-3 is different than 0-2. So I struggle with I believe that if they start this season 0-3, it's going to be bad. Because they've got injuries, and then more guys are going to be injured because that's just shockingly how this sport works of, we're not very good. My shoulder hurts. And then they're going to have, they've got the Colts, and then there's going to be a big deal about that. And then the belief outside of here after they lose to the Raiders would be so astronomically high. And then I do wonder if the belief inside the room is like, man, we've been on good teams before. We know what good football looks like. We're not it. Steve Spurrier, they beat Vanderbilt one time. And they had started the year like number 4 in the country. Got smoked by A&M in the first game, beat Georgia in the second game, and then they beat Vanderbilt or whatever. And Steve Spurrier walked in, and he was like, I tell you, I hate this team. We thought we coached them up all week, and then we give up the opening kickoff for a touchdown. So we're not very good, but all the voters think we are because we beat Georgia. So we're not good. We'll try to coach them up, and we'll try to figure it out. But and one of the lines that he said in that press conference has always stuck with me is he goes, we've all seen good football. We ain't it. And it's like the Titans they've had enough good football to know that if they lose to the Raiders, to look at themselves and say, man, we kind of suck.
Does the way they lose make a difference?
Probably not.
I think it does.
I think there's a reason why. Brady leaves the Patriots. Edelman's still on the team. McCourty's still on the team. All those guys, for the most part, the same group was there. And now all of a sudden, Edelman's retired. James White's retired. Brandon Bolden's left. Josh McDaniels has left. Remember, McDaniels turned down the Colts job. Mm-hmm. That's how Frank Reich ended up with it. And now McDaniels is gone, and it's like all these guys are like, yeah, we had a good run, Bill. Because they know, we stink. We know good football. We know we're not it.
But that's easy. When Tom Brady leaves, it's easy to say, all right, I'm out.
They didn't think that was what it was going to be, though, because they all stuck around at the beginning. And then they all left. And I'm telling you, McDaniels was there for 2 years without Brady. Mm-hmm. And James White was there for 2 years without Brady. And Edelman was there for a year without Brady. I'm just telling you, I think the belief will dissipate if they start 0-3. And so, sure, I'm glad they have it. I don't know how they beat the Raiders without tackles and without pass rushers, but
they have belief, though.
They have belief. To your phones, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to get in. And again, the one big thing about this Raiders game on Sunday, and it is not trending well for the Titans. We'll explain what that is next, Stillman & Company. Let me tell all the fine folks out there about the post-game show coming up following the Titans and the Raiders on Sunday. Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow will have the post-game show, and they will do that live from Landshark Bar and Grill Sportsbook in Margaritaville on Broadway. The post-game show is brought to you by Renter's Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford. Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Who do you call when you need a new floor? R&S Wood Flooring, or finish the old one that you've got. R&S Wood Flooring. R&S Wood Flooring. Bring beauty to every room in your home. R&S Wood Flooring.
R&S Flooring is Nashville's leading flooring company for over 30 years. Say no to inflation and save big this summer at R&S Flooring. Save on all hardwoods, tile, carpet, and LVT flooring. Take advantage of our 12 months, same as cash financing, and don't make a payment until 2023. Simply go online at rnsflooring.com and schedule your free estimate today. No waiting, no hassles. It's that easy. Call 615-771-0084 today and schedule your free in-home estimate. Or visit us online at rnsflooring.com and start visualizing your new floors today.
R&S Wood Flooring. R&S Wood Flooring. R&S Wood Flooring.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
The Nashville Oktoberfest is quickly approaching, and now's the time to get your Dirndls, Lederhosen, and Party Steins ready. From local breweries to live music and festival artisans, you can't go wrong celebrating this Germantown tradition. The Nashville Oktoberfest 2022, Thursday, October 6th through the 9th at Bicentennial Mall in Germantown. Prepare yourself for 4 days of brats, beer, live music, and competitions. VIP experience reservations are still available at thenashvilleoktoberfest.com. Prost, y'all!
Hi, this is Trisha Yearwood. The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum is committed to preserving our musical history and sharing its cultural significance. We invite you to join us in honoring thy music and supporting our mission by becoming a museum member. Membership is your key to accessing a world-class nonprofit arts organization here, locally, minutes from your home. Become a member today by visiting countrymusichallaffame.org/membership.
Golfers, tee it up this fall at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for big savings. Save up to $150 off on Ping G425 woods. Upgrade your gear with discounted Wilson stand and cart golf bags. And stock up on TaylorMade Distance Plus golf balls, now 2 dozen for $35. Don't miss these items and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, and get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Never miss a moment of the show. What is this? Check it out. Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
I believe that if Bud Dupree is not on the field, this team has no chance. Your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with you 100%, and I think that they definitely need him, because you got to remember that Landry's gone. You know, another guy that can get to the quarterback. I know Simmons can get to the quarterback. I know Entre can get to the quarterback. But you're talking about Dupree, who's a disruptor. And when you have a guy that's a disruptor, he might not have the stats or the sacks or, you know, the numbers that you want an edge rusher to have or a guy to have. But the thing about it is he disrupts the play. And when you have that guy taken out of your defense that disrupts the offense, man, it's going to be a little tough on defense to make some plays.
There you go. That was Chris Sanders. Bud Dupree did not practice today. Neither did Taylor Lewan. TD said earlier, Lewan's out in Los Angeles getting a second opinion on the knee. Let me just say, if they go into this game on Sunday against the Raiders with no tackles and no pass rushers, they're probably not going to win. And Bud Dupree, because he's the only one who might play, I think, on Sunday, Bud Dupree, it scares me if he doesn't play. They've got Devontae Adams. They've got Hunter Renfrow. They've got Darren Waller. With Bud Dupree in the lineup last year, the Titans held Patrick Mahomes to 20 of 35, no touchdowns and interceptions, 4 sacks, and a quarterback rating of 62.3. By comparison, Tannehill was 66.7 in the divisional playoff against the Bengals. They held Matthew Stafford with Bud Dupree to 31 of 48, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, including a pick six, sacked 5 times, and a quarterback rating of 71. Without Bud Dupree last year, Zach Wilson of the Jets finished 21 of 34 for 297, 2 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 97.3. And Mac Jones, who is a game manager, 23 of 32, 310, and 2 touchdowns.
Game manager.
123.2. Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow. Let's go to your phones. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Keith is up next. Go ahead, Keith, in Bowling Green.
Hey, guys. How y'all?
Good.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on Todd Downing. I don't think he's done a terrible job. I just think we've done a terrible job of executing. You know, there's some calls that he made against the Giants that were not good. But I tell you, that play that was designed, it was like 3rd and 15, and we threw it to Burks, I think.
Yep.
And the receivers on the other side were blocking. I thought that was a well-designed play. I don't know if it might have been the new guy or not. But anyway, I'll hang up the list.
Sure. I thought it was a great play call. In fact, I wrote good play call. because it was a 3rd and long, and the Titans dumped it short. And so what they were doing was they were setting up a punt, but they also put the ball in Burks' hands so that Burks could make a play, and he did. And I like that kind of play design. I mean, I don't know if I would say that they're not executing. I think the offensive line is a work in progress, and here's why. Number one, they don't practice on the offensive line. They can't. They get 14 padded practices during the regular season. The Titans had to figure out who could play on the offensive line during training camp. So Dylan Radins, for the first 3 weeks, got the first team reps at right tackle. Then when the Buccaneers came in, they split reps at right tackle. And then finally, after the Buccaneers game, when they realized he couldn't play, then finally Nicholas Petit-Ferrer got some reps. But that's 4 weeks of practice in which the other guy was getting the reps at right tackle. So how's the offensive line supposed to gel? Then Taylor Lewan gets hurt, and they put in Dennis Daly, who, by my recollection, or I don't think he's ever played this offensive system. So these zone blocking schemes and everything else he's never done. So they got Dennis Daly at left tackle, and they got Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, a 3rd-round rookie, playing right tackle. So they have a guy who was playing left tackle last year in college, playing right tackle now in the NFL. In the the toughest environment probably in the league to play in on the road, where they can't communicate and check the play at the line. That's really, really hard. So they're going to practice more, and they're going to play more together. So they're going to get about 50 snaps a game together, which is like 5 practices, and they're going to be in pads, and it's going to be physical. And after the game's over, they get the game tape to say, no, you were supposed to block 42, not 38. And those things matter. And over the last 3 years, they've adjusted in the middle of the season, and they've figured it out. So because they've done it 3 years in a row, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, even though I thought it was ridiculous to enter training camp without a right tackle and with a guard that might be the size of a basketball player. Like, that certainly bothers me. But I do think the problem on offense is the offensive line. And that over the years, those things have gotten better, so I'm going to have to assume that they'll get better this year. I didn't think the receivers didn't do their jobs. I didn't think Derek didn't do his job, and I don't think Tannehill didn't do his job. I don't even think Hooper played poorly against Buffalo.
No.
But all these things take time. And here's another thing, too, that I think gets overlooked. And I think Denver's really struggling with this right now. And that is continuity is important. It's not everything, because you don't want to keep doing the same bad thing over and over again. But I think a lot of these teams that are new are struggling with, new play caller, new system, new quarterback, new. I mean, in Denver, Russell Wilson's playing a system he's never played before. Nathaniel Hackett is coaching a system he's never coached before, because they have to basically take Russell's plays and fit them into what Hackett wants to do.
He's also never been an NFL head coach before.
He's never been a coach before, and he's clearly struggling with that.
Yeah.
Russell's never played with these receivers before. I mean, that's hard. Like, it takes time. And so the line is, 3/5 of the line is new, and they're going to Buffalo against a team that sacked the quarterback 7 times. That's hard. So, if it doesn't improve, then they're screwed. And there's no way out of it. And Tannehill's got all new receivers, because Burks is new, Woods is new, Hooper's new. They're all new, except for Hollister. But, I mean, I don't think the execution, though, is the problem. I just think the blocking right now is the problem. I think the who to block is the problem. I think the
that was
making
very
the block
evident against the Bills
is a problem. I think the communication is a problem. And they got to get that ironed out. But they have in the past, so I have to assume that they might be able to do that in the future. What do we have in the text line?
Well, we have our Bud Dupree discussion, so Gator Tim always chimes in whenever we talk about Bud Dupree.
Oh, I started the segment talking about Bud Dupree. That's right.
Gator Tim cannot stand Bud Dupree. He says, quit counting Bust Dupree as a sacker. He doesn't have T.J. Watt pushing the quarterback to him anymore. The man has 3 sacks in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll go down the quarterback ratings. And is it fair to not count the first 2 games where Bud rushed back on the knee injury and was worthless?
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, last season, with a healthy Bud Dupree, without a healthy Bud Dupree, here you go. Kyler Murray, 121. Russell Wilson, 128.8. Carson Wentz, who couldn't walk, 66.7. Zach Wilson, 97.3. Trevor Lawrence, 92.1. Healthy Bud. Josh Allen, 107.8. Patrick Mahomes, 62.3. Carson Wentz, 68.3. Matthew Stafford, 71. Bud's hurt. Trevor Siemian, 104.8.
Trevor Siemian.
Tyrod Taylor, 69.3. Boy, I guess the Titans really just gave the Texans that game. Mac Jones, 123.2. Trevor Lawrence, 35.8 on Urban Meyer Day.
Yikes.
Then here he comes back. Ben Roethlisberger, 80.1. Jimmy Garoppolo, 88. Tua, 53.1. Davis Mills, 128.5 in a game that they quit on at halftime.
Yeah.
Mills was 61.9 at halftime. He was 128.5 for the game.
That was when Danny Amendola went out there and looked like a Hall of Famer.
7 catches for like 120 and 2 touchdowns.
Ridiculous.
Joe Burrow, 93.1. For instance, when Bud is in there, the Titans were 83.5 for the opposing team's quarterback rating. When Bud
is in there?
When Bud's in there. When Bud's out, it's 93.2. I did a Google search about what is a good quarterback rating. Now, everybody will always, if they don't like the answer, what they'll do is they'll say that the source wasn't very good. So I'm not totally familiar with this website. But what it was saying about what a good passer rating was is a 66.7 is an average performance, and a 100-plus rating is excellent. And it said, however, the league average was 88.6, and in 2020, it was 93.6. With Bud in there, they make guys below average. When Bud wasn't in there, those guys were average, and that included the Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer performance, which I'm not sure that – I can't blame Trevor for that. And I'm certainly not giving credit to the Titans for that game.
I give credit all to Urban Meyer and just the dumpster fire that was going on in Jacksonville.
That game, I've never seen a team more defeated in a game. Like a regular season game where the team just didn't give a crap. And that was the Jags that Sunday here after Urban kicked out.
They had no reason to give a crap.
They hated him. And he hated
them. They
hate
their coach.
They hated their coach. I mean, Bud Dupree matters to me. I mean, even the first pressure of the game where Josh Allen threw the ball away, it wasn't because Bud hit the quarterback, but Bud pushed an offensive lineman into Allen.
And that's the thing. It could be very easy to look at the box score and say, oh, Bud Dupree, no sacks, no sacks.
And I know he's paid to get sacks. I understand that.
But his presence and the pressure that he puts on the quarterback, I think, that doesn't show up in the box score, but it's important.
Harold Landry played. Jeffrey Simmons played. Those guys played against Mac Jones when he put up 300 yards. They also all played, and so did Bud, when they held Patrick Mahomes to a 62.3 quarterback rating. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones, Stillman and Company. Let me tell all the fine folks out there about Nashville's best deal this week. That's right. The best deal of the week is our friends at Bavarian Beer House. We love them. Nashville's only authentic German beer hall is a place full of fun, food, music, and most importantly, beer. Enjoy traditional German bratwurst schnitzel, giant pretzels, and more in an Oktoberfest-inspired space. Head to theGameNashville.com/deals now to get a $50 gift card for only $25 to Bavarian Beer House while supplies last.
Hey, this is Phil Forsberg. And this is Smashville.
Forsberg a shot, broken up in front, give it back to Forsberg, and here come the Habs.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
ZZ Top and Jeff Beck get the party started. Raw Whiskey Tour. ZZ Top and Jeff Beck. This Tuesday, First Bank Amphitheater. On sale now at livenation.com. Part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
Get your game on at Social Furniture. Entertain in style and make your social experience more comfortable with new furniture. Everyone loves to socialize. That's why you need new furniture. Save big. Professional same-day delivery and installation. Finance interest-free. Get rewarded with social cash back. Buy $1,000, get $125 cash back. Buy $3,000, get $450 cash back on your Social Furniture gift card to spend on accessories, new TV, sports events, or anything you like. Huge selection in stock. Shop local. Shop social.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here saying you can start NFL Week 3 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And it doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account, you'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. I've got the Steelers on the money line. I've got Freiermuth as an anytime touchdown scorer, and I've got Nick Chubb as an anytime touchdown scorer as well. But you take it any way you want to take it. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night right with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with promo code ROB if you don't already have an account. If you do already have an account, you're all set. Just sign in and see what you got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet of $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, folks, Joe Rexford here. Listen, to do the job I do, I got to stay on the move, and sometimes that can catch up to me. Even when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body, and that's why I use the high-quality and wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. OrderGreen.com is the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, and man, I'm in Tennessee, but it makes me feel like I'm in Colorado, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Save 25% now on every shipment of gummies with a subscription. That's OrderGreen.com. Subscribe to save 25% on gummies.
When you download the Home Depot app, taking on big or small projects starts with a tap. It's your pocket-sized toolbox for getting more done. Image search helps you find what you need with a snap. Store mode pinpoints exactly where to go to get what you want while you're at our store. Or just tap to arrange for easy curbside pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
Coming up on the Friday edition of Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, we're live at Centennial Sportsplex for Predators training camp. We'll also get you set for the Titans and the Raiders, the Vols and the Gators, Eddie George at 1 o'clock. The party starts at 10 on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, this is Pete Weber. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Yeah, I'm excited to go get back on the field and play another game. You have an outing like that, you want to get past it as quickly as you can and go get things going in the right direction.
You see enough of Chandler Jones last year? You'd like to keep him at arm's length this year?
I like to keep all the big guys up front at arm's length. Obviously talented edge players that they have between Chandler and Max on the other side. Guys who play fast, they're long, they're active, they play hard, and they're disruptive. So definitely have to be aware of those guys and have a plan for them.
I just want everybody to know Max Crosby is by far the better player between Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. And the no tackles the Titans are going to have, Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, a.k.a. PT, at right tackle, and Dennis Daly probably at left tackle. By the way, where did all this talk about Dylan? We've had 2 calls today that have asked about Dylan Radunz playing tackle this week.
Morning show or midday show, probably. I had to have brought it up.
No, us.
No, I know, but they had to have brought it up for 2 different callers to call in about Dylan Radunz.
I will just tell you this.
I don't know that for certain. I'm just guessing.
Max Crosby, 10 sacks, 7 sacks, 8 sacks, and he has 1 sack this season. Let me just say this. If the Titans decide to start Dylan Radunz at tackle in this game, I will walk into the stadium, see him at tackle, and I will walk right out.
That's a lie.
I will contemplate walking into the
you
stadium
will not walk
and
out.
turning around and walk right
You
out.
will not walk out, but you will hastily walk to your seats and be grumpy the rest of the
I
game.
will scream on Monday at 2 o'clock that I want my money back from Amy Adams Strunk.
She's not going to give it back, but you can ask for it.
You don't think so?
No.
I like Amy.
Well, she's not going to give you your money back.
I think she likes me.
That does not mean she is going to give you your money back.
You don't think so?
No.
If I demanded my money back for the
I
Titans
demand
started,
you give me $100,000.
and I have never, ever said anything like that about the Titans. And that includes, the Ken Wisenhunt era or the end of the 2004 season or 5 season when Doug Sling Johnson got in there at quarterback. I've never said a word like that, but if Dylan Radin starts at tackle on Sunday, I might feel that way. But I don't think that's going to happen.
He will not.
It will not happen. What do we have in our text line?
One texter checks in and says, I agree that 1-3 is bad, but we've been 1-4 and went to the playoffs. It's still early.
What did I say about 1-3? I
think just throwing out a hypothetical bad record out there.
0-3 is a problem. I think that everybody out there that is crutching on the division, and we played a cut yesterday where Vrabel was asked about, being 0 or how bad the division is, and he was like, yeah, I thought about that, but I think our focus has been the Raiders. And I was thinking, and I asked, what did he think about when he said that? And what I think that he meant by that was, I thought about telling the guys, hey, I know we just got our asses kicked in Buffalo, but it's okay, guys. We're going to be okay. This division's horrible. Let's get it together. Let's go. Because if they go 2-2, if they win on Sunday and then they go beat the Colts and they're 2-2, they are right on schedule. Mm-hmm. They were 2-2 last year. A lot of Super Bowl winners have been 2-2. But if they're 0-3,
that's
even
a tough
in a
hole
bad
to dig
division,
out of.
I'm not sure they can get themselves out of it. And the reason I say that, they would have to go 6-0 in the division in order to do that, and then probably steal a Dallas or a game later down the road. The reason I say that is because somebody is going to get some confidence in this division, and somebody is going to be better than you think they're going to be. And right now it looks like Jacksonville might be the team. It's very early. But Jacksonville looks like they might be the team who's better than we thought. Also, if the Titans are 0-3, and they're 0-3 because their defense quit playing in the second half against the Giants, their offense couldn't sustain any drives against the Bills, and their special teams is horrendous, that means that your team is not very good. And we don't know what happens in the Raider game, but, the Raider game would probably have another story to it that would add to it. That means you're probably not very good. So even though we can look at the schedule and say, well, Washington's not very good, Indy's not very good, well, those games are on the road. And they probably look at you like you're not very good. And they'd probably be right. And if you're not very good and they're not very good, then there's a chance you're going to lose to the teams that aren't very good.
Especially on the road.
Right. So if we're like, hey, this division is lousy. Yes, and so are you when you're 0-3. And I think part of this is the 2001 Titans, because in 99 they were 13-3. In 2000 they were 13-3. And in 2001 they started 0-3. And the Ravens fans were chanting 0-3. And Eddie George could not get running, just like right now they're struggling to get running. And that whole season was, they'll figure it out. They'll dig themselves out of it. They'll find a way. They'll 7-9. And that 3-0 start, that 0-3 start doomed them. And so, and it wasn't like they lost to good teams. They lost to an okay Miami team. They lost to a bad Jacksonville team. And they lost to an okay Ravens team. Now, the Ravens were the defending champions, but they just weren't very good. They ended up making the playoffs, but they weren't very good. They had a Super Bowl hangover. And so, if you lose to the Giants, the Bills, and then the Raiders, I think the best thing the Titans have going for them is that I'm not sure Josh McDaniels is totally comfortable coaching right now. Because I think that the way that they blew that game to the Cardinals last week, and I haven't watched it, but I just kind of, as I was keeping up with it on Red Zone last week, they blew that game.
Well, yeah, if you give me Vrabel or McDaniels, I'm taking Vrabel all day long.
That's not what Jim Irsay wanted to do. And then he ended up hiring.
I think Jim Irsay and I also disagree on a few other things.
Probably fair.
So he's not necessarily the voice of reason. One texter texts in and says this has to be the last year of the Taylor Lewan era in Tennessee.
Well, first of all, Lewan's not out for the season. Secondly, okay, well, now everybody out there that's like, they got to go get a quarterback. They got to go get receivers. They got to go get guys in the secondary. They got to go get pass rushers.
If we've been complaining about the line for multiple years, they have to do something with the line.
Well, now they have to go get a left tackle. So they're going to have to get a right guard because Nate Davis is a free agent. They're going to have to get a new center at some point because Ben Jones is old as hell. We don't know if PT's any good. I think we can probably all agree Brewer's a backup.
Yeah.
He's too small.
He's small.
So they have to get a left guard.
He just got rolled over against the Bills.
And now they're going to have to go get a left tackle.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I hate to sound gloomy here. Most teams are not able to go get 4 pieces to the offensive line and 4 good pieces to the offensive line in one offseason. But good luck to them.
But they've been able to work with pretty bad pieces on the offensive line in the past. So maybe you don't need 4 good pieces on the offensive line. Maybe you need 1 really good, solid piece on the offensive line, and you build from there. Because they ain't even got that right now.
There. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, remember when the Texans started 0-3 and then ended up 8-3 later on in the season?
No. I'm sure it happened. I'm sure that's great. Let's go through this. Titans start off 0-3. Could they win at the Colts?
Yeah.
Could they win at Washington?
Yes.
Could they beat the Colts at home?
Yes.
Could they win at Houston?
Yes.
Okay, so now you're at 4-3.
4-3.
Can they win at Kansas City on Sunday Night Football?
Don't feel great about it.
Can they beat Denver at home after Denver has 2 months worth of games under their belt with the new coach and the quarterback?
Maybe.
Can they win at Green Bay?
No.
Can they beat Cincinnati at home?
Maybe.
Can they win at Philadelphia?
Maybe.
Can they win at the Chargers?
Probably not.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
There's
wishful
no
thinking.
gimmies on this schedule.
Wishful thinking. But, I mean, 0-3, guys, 0-3 is horrible. I mean, 0-3, that is, to me, that's a non-starter. And I'll back the Titans on a lot of stuff. You know, I told you guys, they got smacked on Monday, and I wasn't mad about it. And I'm not mad at the coach, and I'm not banging for them to fire the offensive coordinator. And I know the general manager hasn't drafted well, but I'm not thinking that he needs to be fired or think Tannehill's playing well. I won't watch the tape. I don't think Derrick Henry's the problem. I'm not doom and gloom like everybody else. You start 0-3, like that's bad. That's awful. Bad teams are not 0-3. Teams that finish 11 or 5-12 don't start 0-3. 0-3 is awful.
0-3 is bad.
It's awful.
0-3 is very bad.
They can't do 0-3. 0-3 is not allowed. But I do think the Raiders have better players than them, and if Bud Dupree and Taylor Lewan aren't in there, then they're playing the Raiders with no pass rushers and no tackles. And that's going to be hard for them to dig themselves out of. Play Silly Underdog Picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at theGameNashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. Silly Underdog Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. Superbook Sports voted the #1 sportsbook app in Vegas. Download their app today.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
It's here, the big front moving through this evening, bringing us a gorgeous start to Friday. Temperatures drop to the low to mid 50s. Sunshine with highs in the upper 70s for Friday afternoon. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Football is back, and so are the deals at Electronic Express. Get an LG 75-inch 4K TV for only $699, or a Samsung laundry pair for $549 each. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an HP Pavilion touchscreen laptop for just $649, or a Klipsch soundbar system for $199. Shop in-store or online and get up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
if it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
You can't be all work and not play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Ooma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just 3 guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Sunday's NFL Game of the Week on 94.9 The Fan. This week's game will be the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 3:25. The NFL Game of the Week is brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and Superbook Sports. Voted the #1 sports book in Vegas. Download their app today and on Saturday. Be sure to join Caroline for Southeastern Carolines live from 312 Pizza Company, where Caroline will get everybody set for the weekend. So be excited about that.
Woo-hoo!
Presented by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. So be excited for that. Thursday Night Football tonight. We have the Steelers and the Browns. I, for some reason, am not excited about this game. I will watch it. I know I will.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
But I'm not excited about it at all. Last week when it was Kansas City and the Chargers, and it was the first Thursday Night Football game on Amazon, and
that game had some juice.
This game, I'm not interested.
I think it's because both teams are kind of seem to be pretty bad.
Are the Steelers bad, though?
So far.
They beat the Bengals in overtime.
Yeah, in overtime. The Bengals also missed like 4 field goals.
I didn't watch that game, so I can't comment on it. But, I mean, nobody knows who's good. Nobody knows who's bad. The Browns.
I'm saying where it
the
stands
quarterback
right
matchup
now.
is disgusting. Trubisky versus Brissett.
Ew.
It's not
backup
TV
on
worthy.
backup.
Now, how about this for Amazon? Amazon was promising advertisers that they would average 12 million viewers per Thursday Night Football game.
Okay.
According to the New York Post, most individual experts or TV rating experts or whatever had pegged that around that the more likely number was 7 to 8 million viewers.
Eek.
They drew 13 for last week's game. And apparently I heard Pat McAfee say today that it was the #1 sign-up day in the history of Amazon Prime.
Oh, my gosh.
So what do we think of the Amazon experiment? I heard a lot of people that complained about their Amazon experience for Thursday Night Football, and I have to tell you all that I had no problem at all the entire night. In fact, I follow Haley Lewis, who is a TV reporter in Kansas City.
Uh-huh.
She used to go to Belmont. She's a former Miss Tennessee, and she, we follow each other on Twitter because she was interested in sports broadcasting or whatever, and now she's in Kansas City, and I worked with people who work in Kansas City or whatever. And so she was at the game live tweeting, right? It's like Amani Hooker intercepts the ball at the 13-yard line or whatever. She would tweet something and was streaming the hard part. Even when I'm watching on satellite at my parents' house, which is way faster than streaming. Jim Wyatt will send out a tweet of, Tannehill sacked at the 13, and that will come like 25 seconds before I see it on satellite.
Yeah, like if I'm watching a game and also on Twitter, I know what happens
Right.
based off of Twitter.
And if you're streaming it, it will happen even faster.
YouTube TV is the slowest.
Her tweets matched up with when it was happening on my TV for the Amazon game. It did not. It was faster than any streaming I've ever had before in my life.
Do you think that has something to do with it's just Amazon? Because I stream games on YouTube TV, so that's going through cable. Fox, whatever, Fox, ESPN. I don't know. I'm just wondering.
So you're saying, like, your theory behind this is that they have to beam the signal up to the satellite and then beam it back down to the cable provider, and then the cable provider has to send it through to YouTube
Because I would
TV.
assume if I'm watching it on cable, it's probably more in time with real time than YouTube TV is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then it would be different for Amazon because of how Amazon
Because it's not
is
cable.
beaming it out.
It doesn't have different
It doesn't have to
avenues
beam
it has to
up
go
to the
through.
satellite and then beam down. Or
And somebody who
whatever.
knows the answer to this is probably listening to this, laughing
Thinks we're
their butts off
morons.
and thinks we're idiots.
Thinks
but
we're
that's just
such morons.
my hypothesis of why Amazon would be faster because it's just Amazon.
So the other thing about the streaming stuff is on Friday night, baseball has sold out. They know people don't care about the regular season, but that they also do. It's a very weird conundrum, right?
At this time of the year, you either really care or you don't care at all.
I'm just talking in general, though. Like, people en masse do not care about baseball's regular season. But individual fans of individual teams do.
Yes.
So that's how they sell tickets to games, and they make all this money. So now they're selling all their stuff to everybody. Amazon's got a deal. Peacock's got a deal. Apple's got a deal. Somebody else who streams has a deal. And Bally's now is going to have a deal. Whatever. So the Yes Network in New York, which broadcasts the Yankee games on TV, they do not have Friday's Yankee game tomorrow night against the Red Sox. Apple TV does. And there's going to be a lot of people that don't know how to get Apple TV that are like wanting to watch Aaron Judge break the record. And so the Yes Network went to Apple and tried to make a deal for them to be able to show the game on TV locally, which is allowed in the NFL. The local markets get the games. They have gone and asked for the ability to show the game in New York. And Apple TV was like, no.
Abso-freaking-lutely not.
They were
Maybe
like,
the
no.
biggest Yankee game of the year, regular season game?
By
Absolutely
far
not.
the biggest Yankee game of
I
the
mean,
year.
Apple TV is probably salivating at the mouth thinking about how many new subscribers they're going to get because of that one game.
So all you have to do, apparently, and I do not quote me on this, everybody, but all you have to do is sign up for Apple TV. You don't have to pay anything. You just have to sign up, and you can get the free baseball Friday night games. And that's the lure to get people to sign
Their
up.
idea is you'll get hooked on Apple TV.
And then
That's what brings you in, and then all their
Right.
shows keep you.
But their games are free. The Braves have been on there like 3 or 4 times. Not one time have I decided to sign up for it.
But
I just move on. I just don't watch it.
But if there's a Braves player that's about to break the single season
There's
home
about to
run
break
record,
like a Hank Aaron record,
you're gonna sign up for it.
Yes, I would. If the Braves play a 3-game series with the Mets, I think like in the middle of, not next week, but the week after that, if the Braves were playing the Mets on Apple TV, I would then get Apple TV.
Right. And I think that's also just the nature of baseball. Like if the Titans are playing on Apple TV Plus, I'll sign up for Apple TV Plus because I'm not going to miss a game. But with baseball, if I miss a single Cardinals game, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'll live.
And so their whole theory behind that is that while a lot of people will be like me and you that just kind of move off of it and don't worry about it, that there will be enough people that do care. And then when
And
something
will sign up
pops
for
like
it.
this, it's like, here's the gold mine. I did not talk to one person who had a legitimate problem with Amazon on Friday night until Chad Withrow came on, or Thursday night last week, until Chad Withrow came on. And he said that I was good downstairs, but my Fire Stick upstairs. I'm like, maybe that was the
I
Fire
think that's
Stick's
a
problem.
Wi-Fi problem.
Yeah.
I think that's a less Amazon problem and more a you problem, honestly. Because I never had an issue.
Oh, it was
no
so
problem.
crystal clear.
Yeah.
It was the best picture I think I've ever seen. And so, look, tonight's game is not exciting at all. The Steelers and the Browns. Now, there's so many Steeler fans out there. I'm going to guess Amazon gets 9 million viewers for this game.
I was going to say 8.
I would say 9 million. They're not going to get 13 like they did for the last game. It was the first game, and they had two quarterbacks, and it was close.
Two good teams.
And this game, I think the Steelers are going to blow out the Browns because I think the Browns suck, and Clowney's hurt again. Shocking. But look, man, Thursday Night Football, I don't realize how much I need Thursday Night Football until I realize how much I miss Thursday Night Football when it goes off the air.
It's fun to have. 2
Titan games, by the way, on Thursday Night Football. Now, those will be broadcast over the air, just like how Monday night's game was broadcast over the air on Fox 17. These 2 Amazon games will be that way as well. And that's how it is. Stillman and